Hello, and welcome to another episode of Showboys. My name is Mike, and I am joined by my good friends Nick and Chad. How are you guys doing tonight?
And another one. Doing good. How are you?
Good, good. Chad, how are you?
Doing great, man. Doing great.
You look a
Tired.
little sleepy.
Yeah, I'm a little tired.
Maybe
E3 marathon.
I think you had a little bit of a busy week this week.
Yeah, we'll get into that. I was throwing a couple curveballs this week, so yeah, definitely.
Yes. But yes, we're back. Very special episode of What's Playing. Last week was our normal What's Playing, and we're back at it again this week because there was this little small gaming event that happened the 12th through the 15th called E3. Not sure if you've heard of it or not, but it happened, and there's a lot of new gaming news and gaming announcements and reactions that we need to discuss. So that's what we're going to do tonight. It's going to be a lot of fun. There's a lot to break down. That's why Chad is so sleepy. He was a busy man. But before we get into that, we have a very special announcement for you guys. I'm gonna steal the screen here for a second. We are doing our very first giveaway here at Showboys. So let's show you what we got here to give away. We have
air horn.
Yeah, we need that air horn soundbite. We have this very cool Moff Gideon Funko Pop t-shirt. This comes along with, you guessed it, the Moff Gideon Funko Pop here, and it's the awesome one where he is holding the dark saber. Yeah, we're gonna give away this set here. Not this literal set. This is mine. You can't have it. It's already open. But I have a brand new unopened box here, still in the wrapper.
So crispy.
Here you go. Nice and crispy. Nice fun Funko Pop t-shirt combo pack here to give away. And we're doing this. We're going to do this giveaway when we hit 100 subscribers here on our YouTube channel. We're only 10 subscribers away, so not that far. So if you could spread the word, if you're not subscribed yet, please subscribe. The only qualifications here for being able to win the prize is you have to be a subscriber to our YouTube channel, and you have to be a member of our Discord, just to make it easier for us on the giveaway end. But yeah, if you haven't already joined our Discord, the link is on our Linktree page, link tr.ee/showboyspodcast. It's in our bios on our Facebook and Instagram pages. I think there's even a link on our YouTube channel page. Nick, is that correct?
There certainly is.
Subscribe to the YouTube channel if you haven't already. Join our Discord if you haven't already. And this super awesome Funko Pop t-shirt package combo could be yours. By the way, the shirt is an extra large. I just went, extra large. I don't know. That's what size I wear, so you get it.
Big comfy tee.
Big comfy tee. Yes, what we'll do is we'll put the names of all of our subscribers on our YouTube channel and Discord members. Remember, you have to be both into a bowl or something, and we'll pick one on the episode following when we hit 100 subscribers. So yes, this very cool t-shirt. Show you again. Bam, Moff Gideon with the dark saber could be yours, along with this super adorable Moff Gideon Funko Pop. So get on it so we can give this away. But yeah, other than that, thank you for bearing with me during that. I wanted to also kind of catch you guys up on a few things before we get into the episode. So last night I finished the show Raised by Wolves on HBO Max. I don't know if either of you have heard of it or seen it. But it's only one season right now. I think it came out last year. Finished it last night. Pretty good. pretty entertaining. There's a cool story there. It's sci-fi. I think we talked about it on our What's Watching episode, Nick, and you thought I was talking about like an animated thing, and then I disappointed you because it was live action. But Chad, have you heard of Raised by Wolves on HBO?
Yeah, I've seen it on HBO, but I haven't actually watched it. I've just like as I've been browsing, in passing saw the cover page for it or whatever, but no, I haven't really even watched the trailer for it, I don't think.
Yeah, it's interesting. I recommend. There were a few parts here and there that were like, okay, it's kind of goofy, but I think overall solid. So if you're in the mood for a sci-fi show, recommend it.
Is it a
that,
HBO show?
Yes.
Okay.
And Ridley Scott is like exec producer.
Oh,
so it's pretty cool. Yeah. Minor detail.
Now I'm in. Yes.
Also,
Clicking that thumbnail.
one of the main-ish characters on that show, Nick, you might know this. I don't recall his name, but he is an actor from Vikings, which does nothing because there are a lot of actors and actresses in Vikings. But one of them is in Raised by Wolves, and his character is kind of cool. I also started another HBO show called The Flight Attendant.
Travis Fimmel.
Yes, that's him. He's good in Raised by Wolves. The Flight Attendant. Watch the first episode of that. Have either of you guys heard of or seen any of this show?
If it is the one with the Kaylee Cuoco in it.
Yep.
Yeah. So my wife watched that show, and I caught like glimpses of it here and there. It seemed okay. I feel like she's. This is just my personal opinion. I feel like she's not a very good actress. Like she doesn't really do anything for me outside of like Big Bang Theory, like the slap joke.
Yeah.
You know, acting.
I've only seen the first episode. I really like the premise. It also has, man, I should have like came with actor names.
Prepared.
But
prepared.
He was in Haunting of Bly Manor, the author guy. Anyways.
Oh yeah.
He's
the dude that. Oh yeah, I know who you're talking about. Yeah.
But yeah, it's interesting. Kind of like whodunit type show.
Whodunit.
So we'll see if the rest of the season continues on. The first episode caught my attention. It was interesting. But yeah. Have you guys been watching? I mean, I know what Chad's been watching all week.
Yeah.
Nick, have you watched or played anything this week in particular?
Yeah, I have a few updates for this week. I've been kind of busy. I'll spare you my adventures in the MCU. We all know how that's going. It's going. But, watching Loki, that's a thing. Finished Handmaid's Tale. The season finale came out yesterday. Definitely not the strongest season finale on that for season 4 here. Got a little corny.
Nice.
Wasn't a huge fan, but it was okay. I would have done some things differently. Definitely a lack of blood in this season. That's always a disappointment. There's a lot of things that could have been more gory. But other than that, playing wise, I've been playing a game called Northgard on Steam.
It's on the wish list.
Yeah, it was in early access. I'm pretty sure it's out of early access now. But they have quite a few DLC since I last played it. Not that I bought any of them, but it's a pretty fun little RTS game. It simplifies a lot of systems. Areas are more, territories are kind of, you kind of outright buy them or colonize them. And that's kind of how you move across the map. Is more so by territories, and each territory can have so many buildings, and each one has specialized resources. So it's a little different spin on an RTS game, and it's got a fun animation style, kind of cartoony, but it's meant to be light. But it's really accessible. I think it's easy to pick up, hard to master. That's kind of where I'm at right now. So that's been fun.
Plus Vikings.
Yes, it's Vikings, and
Nice.
and I feel like they were on the edge there because this game has been kind of building for a while before the whole Viking craze happened.
Mhm.
So
It's always weird how that happens because like some of these games are in development for like years,
Yeah.
and then they come out at the same time. You're like, wait a second, this is
Yeah.
identical to like the similar thing happened to kind of Sekiro and Ghost of Tsushima, those two
yeah,
samurai games. They were like a year apart, but they came out and it was like, Ghost of Tsushima had to copy the combat, but there's no way because it's been in development for like years. So
Yeah.
it's odd.
yeah, and we'll get into it, but E3, I saw like some more samurai inspired looking games coming out and about, and I'm like, what is, like, me and Chad were just talking about how we wanted samurai stuff, and all of a sudden we are now inundated with it, and I haven't played any of it.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I think there was like a major drought there for a while. There were always at least ninja games coming out.
right.
Ninja Gaiden was always the thing. There was always some, and then there was like a drought there until Sekiro and Ghost of Tsushima. And now, yeah, there was another one at E3, and I can't remember the name of it for the life of me. But I remember being disappointed when I found out what it actually was. So
Yeah.
it was.
I think there was a lot of that this E3, not to be a Debbie Downer, but
Yeah, I mean,
the live
I
chat
will
was
agree.
going crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Have you like played anything in your spare seconds this week?
Yeah, I'm still replaying Ghost of Tsushima and Sekiro, which is becoming
Nice.
I don't know what to play, so I play these two games type of deal.
Right.
But that being said, I didn't really touch too much of it this week because I was so busy.
Yeah.
So
Understandable. There is one last thing we need to tackle before we get into E3. And we have a channel on our Discord called Ask the Boys, where you can submit questions for us to ask that will either turn into full-fledged episodes of the show, or, like tonight, we'll just answer at the start of the show. And this is going to be the first one, not that has been asked in the channel. The channel has been, kind of going for a little while, but this is going to be the first one that we've addressed on the show. So Mel, you might know her. You've heard us talk about her quite a bit. Frequent, very active user on our Discord. She said, this was brought up by a friend of mine on Facebook, but I wanted to know your opinions. Who would win in a fight? My boy, Bucky Barnes, aka the Winter Soldier, or Dick Grayson, aka Robin/Nightwing? My money is on Bucky, but it is pretty well known at this point that I am a Marvel girl, and he is one of my favorite characters. Although my friend did bring up some very good points for Dick, that being a master strategist and genius may give him an edge. I know they've had these two duke it out on Superpower Beatdown and similar YouTube channels, but I want to know what you all think. And then she actually added a very nice picture of the Winter Soldier and Nightwing. Thanks for the question, Mel. Just so you know, Mel, I actually text Jordan, our Showboys comic expert, and told him that he needs to go into Discord and answer your question, because I'm sure he would have an amazing answer for you. Not being as knowledgeable as Jordan, this is actually kind of a tough question to answer. My heart wants to say Dick Grayson because I like DC more than Marvel. But, Bucky's a super soldier. He's got a vibranium arm. He's like 100 years old. He's got 80 years of combat experience. Plus, he was a highly trained, deadly assassin. But Dick Grayson was trained by Batman, who always seems to hold his own and outsmart his opponents while being underpowered in comparison. So yeah, I don't know. I'm going to toss this up to Nick and Chad first, and then I'll see if I can come to a definite answer by the time they answer. So Nick, I know you have such a deep knowledge of comics and comic book characters.
You can see the way he's sitting right there, that he's got something clicking.
Yes, I got to know. What do you think?
Man, yeah, Bucky's definitely kind of like very practically this hardened soldier, right? having just a lot of practical experience, just being older and been through a lot. Nightwing, on the other hand, I mean, yeah, Batman, arguably one of the greatest superheroes ever, can take his money and turn himself into a lot of fun gadgets and tricks to compete at any level on the hero scale. Man, I feel like Bucky would win up until the point like Dick had something in his back pocket and had like the last like say in the fight, if you will. Like he just had the like trap or the gadget that just did him in, detached his arm. Like that's a thing because that's doable.
We saw it happen. We saw it happen in Falcon Winter Soldier.
So I feel like he would definitely take that route and be able to incapacitate the Winter Soldier here.
All right, so that's one vote for Nightwing. That's what I heard. What about you, Chad?
Yeah, I think I'm going to go with the Winter Soldier just because of the experience and everything in his background, the assassin, all the stuff that Mike said. However, that being said, now that Nick said, if down to the last wire, and if that last wire is calling Batman, then I think Nightwing pulls it off. So if that's cheating, that might be cheating, but that from my minor experience with Nightwing in DC, it seems like that's at least a thing that happens. Is that he calls in the backup. So it could happen here. So I'm going to go with Winter Soldier unless Batman is in the play, on the field.
Yeah. I will just lock you in for Winter Soldier because we're gonna rule out the whole backup thing because we don't want Bucky. We don't want Bucky to call him backup because then we're just down a rabbit hole of just
right. We'll be here all night.
That's a whole episode.
Yeah,
like does Bucky just call in the Falcon and then somehow Rogers comes back through time and it's just a mess. It's an absolute mess.
Okay, so we're tied. So I will be breaking the tie.
Oh yeah.
Are
you looking up Jordan's answer?
I'm trying to find
I was gonna say
text.
I was gonna say that taking the pressure off of you with Nick and Chad thing really backfired on you because now you're the tiebreaker.
I know, right? Now it's the ultimate pressure. I'm gonna have to vote for. I'm gonna have to say that Nightwing would take this fight, just because I think he would ultimately outsmart Bucky. Bucky is while he is a highly trained assassin, he kind of came off, at least in the MCU, which is what I'm basing my knowledge on because I haven't read many Marvel comics. It kind of came off as kind of like a meathead, kind of.
Yeah.
And
I feel
that is not what Nightwing is. Nightwing is a trained fighter, but he's also trained by Batman, who is a master tactician and a brilliant, the world's greatest detective. And that kind of, use of your mind would have advantages in fights, as we've seen with Batman throughout the ages. So I think Dick Grayson would take this. And, even though Jordan hasn't answered in Discord, he did text me. He said,
jerk.
Spoiler. He sent me a couple texts and then he's like, spoiler alert, Dick wins. So
there you go. I don't know. Anytime, and this is just my minor experience with DC, anytime I think of Dick Grayson, I think of him in like the 60s show with his tights and like his shark spray or whatever it was.
Yeah.
So that's like, I know that's, yeah. So that's what always pops into my head for him. I'm not sure why. I know that Nightwing is a pretty substantial DC character. I just don't really know that much about him.
Yeah.
Outside of like the Arkham series.
There is, he is the main character in the Titan show on HBO Max, which is a great show if you haven't watched it.
Yeah, I wanted to check it out because I think, is Red Hood in that at some point too?
I cannot confirm or deny.
Okay.
Also, there is allegedly a Nightwing movie in development, so there could be more Nightwing on the way, just saying. And then again, last thing I promise, then it's all E3. I'm going to take the screen again because we're talking about DC comics and stuff. And I just wanted to recommend this series here, Deceased. This is like the third trade of the series here.
Do you own that?
No, I am currently borrowing these.
Damn, those are cool.
Dude,
Yeah, they really are.
They are super awesome. These are like hardback trade. The art is beautiful. I'm borrowing them from our chief moderator in Discord, Fortress Tiberius. Those are volumes 2 and 3 of the series. I read volume 1. He let me borrow it Sunday. I read it in like an hour, and I was like, this is amazing. This is easily becoming one of my favorite comic series. But yeah, just think Justice League and Zombie Apocalypse. It's like
It looks
so,
like that's a really cool concept.
It is so good. I highly recommend. You should check it out. I think he told me last night, these are the only 3 trades that are out right now, and the 4th one is about to come out. So the series is still ongoing, and it's not like considered like main canon. It's kind of like an Elseworld story, like off to the side there. But yeah, the first trade was just full of ridiculous surprises, one after the next. So if you're into comics, if you're into DC, read the Deceased books. So good. And if you can, pick up the hardcover version, because it's like,
they're beautiful,
gorgeous.
Yeah,
like you can't really see the art too well, but like they have the like shiny metallic. This one is green. The other one is orange. The first volume is red. They're beautiful.
That stuff is just fun to have, and it's sit on the shelf, and like,
exactly.
Yeah, that's fine. I don't know why that's a thing, but it's great. Just so cool.
Ryan, if you're listening, I kind of don't want to give these back. I might accidentally lose these books and then ask to borrow the first one again, and accidentally lose that one. Good thing he doesn't listen to our podcast.
He's a great chief moderator.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, that does it for all the pre-show stuff. I know we're like 23 minutes into the episode, but it was fun. Thanks, Mel, for asking us that question. If you
Real
guys
head scratcher.
Yeah, it was good. Made me think. If any of you listening have any question that you would like us to talk about on our episodes, or banter with you back and forth in Discord, join the Discord, jump in the Ask the Boys channel, and ask away. And who knows, we might answer your question live on a show. But yeah, anyone listening, if you have your pick in the Winter Soldier Nightwing / Robin fight, chime in the comments. Let us know who you think would win. We'll talk about it throughout the show. But on to the main topic of tonight's show. That is E3 2021. Chad, how was your week?
It was there, man. I mean, I got to be honest with you. It went a little busier than I was expecting it to go, for sure.
Yeah.
And I think that has a lot to do with Sunday, which was the Xbox Bethesda showcase. So last week I told you guys that I was kind of locked into horror or sci-fi games to write for Downright Creepy, right?
Yes.
And it was going pretty smooth through Saturday. There was I think I wrote 2 articles. Sunday I ended up writing 9 articles. And that was because Xbox and Bethesda came out and literally showed all sci-fi or horror games. Every game was, I was like, oh my gosh, this is such a disaster. But I got to be honest, as a whole, pretty underwhelming as far as I'm concerned. There are definitely highlights there for me, but it sucks not having Sony at E3 anymore. And I understand why they do it, why they're doing it. And I think the big problem this year was COVID threw a lot of these games through a loop with their development.
Yeah.
So I think that's why some of the press conferences, like Capcom, was possibly the worst press conference I've ever watched in my life, and it's one of my favorite studios. I was totally amped. I was like, oh, we're gonna get there were Resident Evil 4, a remake for Resident Evil 4. We'll get some news on that. I was thinking all kinds of stuff. They literally talked about 4 games and then left, and they were 3 of them were already out.
Yeah, exactly. I was gonna say.
And then the other one was well known well before E3. They didn't even announce anything. So
yeah. Yeah. So backstory, Chad writes for downrightcreepy.com. He does reviews video games. He was able to secure a press like badge access, whatever, what have you. So he was covering all of E3 for downrightcreepy.com, and just so happens that he's on this podcast that talks about video games. So it worked out perfectly.
Yeah.
So did you like take time off work for like Monday and Tuesday, or like did you just catch
No,
up
so-
afterwards, or like how did what was the press access like what were you
So-
able to see that us normies
So the
weren't?
press access gave you like immediate access to the stuff that they were going to announce. But that being said, it was on a first edition app that you had to download for the first digital E3, and it was absolutely trash. So it functioned, but I got to be honest with you, I didn't use the app for much of anything of E3. I was on YouTube because it was just far easier.
Mhm.
But that being said, you could go there to get different stuff for your articles. If you wanted to get trailers and that stuff, it was all in there. You could pull it all from that. So that
Nice.
was cool. But so I didn't take any time off of work. I'm fortunate enough to work Tuesday, Wednesday, Saturday every week. So it started Saturday. So I was at work Saturday and I just did it while I was at work. It was only Ubisoft on Saturday. So it wasn't that long, but then Sunday came around and it was literally, I was writing from like noon till 9 o'clock at night, just non-stop. And I got to be honest with you, even though that probably for the person listening to this sounds like it sucked, I had the time of my life. I'm not going to lie. I mean, it was fun, man. I was cranking out these new articles, hearing all these games. I had a blast.
Nice. So Nick, did you catch any of E3? Did you spot pick what you chose to watch or listen to, or did you throw on day one and watch it straight through, throw on day two?
No, I was definitely very selective. I think I checked out most every day on YouTube, but definitely went to the top comment that was just like, here's the lineup.
Yeah.
And then I just kind of spot picked through there because I'm just not going to sit there and watch them do their bits and then also just watch games I don't care about. The bits were pretty bad at times, unfortunately. Not good look. And also, back to Chad's point about like Sony, like I get it. And like, I think pre E3, like I'm like, oh yeah, hell yeah. Like just don't do it. Just do your own thing and be rock stars. But when the Microsoft stuff came on, at that point, I was like, I really need the Sony stuff to be going simultaneously on the same day, not in E3, just to counterbalance it, because their stuff is good and like there's a lot of great stuff there. It's just it's just when you have that void of Sony not being there, it just really offsets it.
I'm sorry. We got a comment and it literally is making me laugh so hard. Sweet Polar Knight says, "Sweet Jesus, it is a perfect evolution of beards." Thank you.
That was a good one.
That was hilarious. I didn't mean to interrupt you, Nick, but that
no,
literally was cracking
that was
me
good.
But
yeah, I guess the void is just there, and I just need them there to counter, especially because Microsoft is going so into the, I just feel like they're not going the direction of cross-platform anything. Like they're so exclusive with everything they do. So like that whole battle for the past 10 years to say, let's just have it all be intermingled. It just doesn't seem like it's going that direction anymore.
Right.
We're going backwards. So that's at the point where I was like, I need Sony to hurry up and do their thing, or just be at E3.
Yeah, it makes sense. But also on the other side of the coin, with how underwhelming E3 was, it's almost like, is E3 even necessary? As painful as a question that is, because I know in the past, especially like right out of high school, for me, following E3 was always like a big deal, and that's where you got all of the amazing new announcements and new trailers, and like everyone was hyped about what games were coming down the road, and it was always like the biggest part of the year for us gamers. But the last couple years, it's kind of
That
not
just-
been. And
Yeah.
I know we had like COVID last year, so we didn't have.
Well,
really have
yeah.
Not even
E3.
that.
But
yeah, I don't think it's an age thing. I don't think it's like you got older and you don't enjoy it anymore. I just literally think E3 is dying, and it sucks because now I'm finally like writing about it and doing all this stuff. They're like, oh, we're not going to do it anymore. I'm
yeah,
like, cool.
but I think
But-
the companies are just starting to do their own thing, which
yeah.
is fine.
That's what it should be.
It's cool, but now we're in that like middle ground where like E3 is still a thing, but then like Sony does its own thing. I know Nintendo has their Nintendo Directs, but then they're also a part of E3. And it's just like it's like this weird thing. It's like if we're gonna have E3, like let's all do it so we can like get it all at once, and all the gaming stuff is there for everyone, or let's like just blow it up and everyone do their own thing.
Right.
At least that's like my viewpoint. But
The dev cycles, these, in the past 5 years have changed so much from, 6-10 years ago, where everything's so much more fluid and they can't even launch games properly anymore. So it's almost like,
yeah,
we just get such a constant feed of information. So it's really hard, one, for them to save stuff till a set date and like, ta-da, here it is. It's more like, hey, we want you to play this beta because we don't know what we're doing and hope you can help us make it better. Like, I don't know. It's just such a mess compared to like when E3 was born. That's where everyone could go and get all their stuff for the year.
Yeah.
Whereas now we're everywhere.
I think that is kind of a good thing though, because back then, if a game launched broken, it was just broken forever.
Yes.
It wasn't going to get fixed. But then I do think that some studios, looking at you, Bethesda, put their games out knowing that they're broken in hopes of fixing them later down the road. And then a lot of these games 2-3 years later are awesome, but people are so far past them that, they just don't care about them anymore. And a prime example of that is Days Gone, which was that zombie game that came out on the PS4. They didn't call them zombies, but it's a zombie game. Let's be real.
Yeah.
It came out and it was good at launch. It was just kind of it didn't have the Sony polish that everything else did. And now it's awesome, but it's just so far past, the damage was kind of already done for that game. So they announced that they're not getting a sequel to that game. They're starting a new IP, and that kind of sucks because I liked that game. I liked the series. I liked where it was going. It just had a terrible launch, and that ruined the franchise essentially.
Yeah. It's those are all very great points. So yeah, we'll see, what evolves from E3, or if, it gets back on track to, what it was in the past, or if it just kind of, dissolves and companies just start doing their own thing. But you both make great points about how difficult it is to like keep anything secret these days. There's, unintentional leaks. And then of course there's like leaks that are really just the company getting an idea of what traction they'll get with a property, and like they just kind of want to get it out as soon as possible to basically have us pay to play test it for them.
Exactly.
It's so convenient though.
Yeah,
it makes sense for them to do that, and we should be the people play testing it.
Right.
Yeah, that's true.
But so myself, I did not watch live. I tried to watch as much as possible for each day during the work day for me. So I had it up on one of my monitors over there during the work day, and much like Nick, though I did a little like more thorough of a watch, I did do a lot of skipping of the bits and the breakdowns in between announcements and showcases and stuff. But yeah, I pretty much watched all 4 days with the exception of maybe like 2 hours of day 4. I didn't quite get it finished, but I was a little sad about the the bits and the commentators. That was the word I was looking for.
Yeah.
Because they had Avalie May on as one of the commentators, and she used to do sideline reporting for the LCS, for the Pro League of Legends stuff for North America. And I always enjoyed her on the LCS, but like big
Not feeling it
cringe.
yeah, for
Big
sure.
super cringe. And I was like, no, Avalie, what are you doing? What is going on? I was so happy for you. Yeah, just a lot of it. So cringe. I if I heard one more time somebody say, and man, I'm here for it, I was going to blow my
Right.
brains out. It's
Yeah.
like, use another phrase, like, holy crap. Has anyone told you, like, switch things up?
I just don't know how, while gaming is becoming increasingly cool, mainstream, and like the thing to be doing, they are simultaneously getting not cool.
Yeah.
And like
right.
not the thing, like they can't have, so like one of the comments in the live feed was like SNL would be an improvement from this. Like,
right.
why is that a thing? Like you're
Yeah.
part of one of the biggest upcoming industries for the past like 2 decades, and somehow you guys just are not entertaining at all.
Yeah.
Right.
I think the really, like, I don't remember all of their names. I know the
Greg Miller was on there. He was the guy with the glasses. He was
Okay.
on every single day.
he was
he's-
okay. Golden Boy, I liked Golden Boy. I could listen to him. Jackie was the giant lady. Yes.
Right.
She was all right, but she was the one who was always like, I'm here for it. And I'm like, I am here for you, using a different term, because I want to seriously just cut my ears off.
I see you here for
yes.
it. Now let's go.
Yeah. But like basically everyone else on the panels, yeah, the one Mike dude who was just always like, yo,
Yeah. Right.
man, Shimigami Tensei, yo.
Yeah.
Like
So-
Mike's-
He's frozen in his.
yeah.
It's a perfect time for us to freeze. Yeah, so I mean, I definitely agree with Mike. I think that moving forward, I think Games Fest should be where we announce games. That was the thing that happened, I think, Friday night with Jeff Keighley, I think his name is. I don't know. Do you know his name, Nick?
No, I don't.
Okay. So it's basically just one clip after another, and I think that's the best way to announce games going forward. The kind of E3 thing I think should be maybe saved for like console releases and bigger things like that. We don't need the like skits in between and
Right.
all that stuff. So
Yeah, and that's the other thing is, the one day when I popped on and it was the PC period.
Oh
where
my
they're going over
gosh,
that.
that was
I just
Yeah.
felt it was so out of place. I don't know,
Yeah.
like Nintendo, like you said, maybe it's better if it's just the console releases, the things that we have kind of less input on, right? And like less
Right.
beta testing, less early access. Meanwhile, here's the PC bit, and these are all things that people have already played. It's been now in development for 3 years, and people are like, never heard of it.
Right.
And they're like, the big up and coming game, and it's just like, no, what is happening right now? Like,
also,
I
can we
told
just
Mike-
talk about those like skits and
Mm,
whatever
no.
was
Oh,
happening
yeah,
there?
man.
Like that actually made me
I
wanna
think that's what
swallow
I
a can
think
gum.
of when it comes to the bad skits. Maybe I'm
Right.
just thinking of the PC one.
Well, it's PC, and I, as much as I love Troy Baker and Laura Bailey, I think is her name.
Not
That
good.
future games thing, man,
Yeah.
it just was not. I was not feeling it, and there were some cool games showing there. I was super amped
Yeah.
for the boxing game that was showing there because we have no boxing games, which is like a thing from my childhood
Yeah.
that just disappeared. And a lot of the indie games they showed there look awesome. It was just this, the talking that
So
it just
bad.
needed to go
The
away.
script was
That's why-
not
yeah.
good.
And that's why I feel like the is it Jeff Keighley? Am I saying that right? I hope I'm
I don't
saying
know.
that right. He's the Summer Games Fest guy. You'll know. I
Mm.
mean, if you look him up, you know exactly who he is. But that's the way to do it. He literally just says, "Here's a new, here's a bunch of new things,"
Yeah.
and then they just keep going one after another,
Watch.
one after another. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's
Enjoy.
the video game awards guy.
Oh, okay.
It does that stuff. So I mean, you know him, but that, and I think the fact that he got Elden Ring as the final announcement, which should have been a major game revealed at E3, I think that even the developers are starting to lean more towards that Summer Game Fest kind of thing, where we're just going to crack out a bunch of trailers and then move on with our lives instead of this big, digital only expo where the app doesn't work for anything. And,
Yeah. But yeah, so with all that being said, now that we kind of tore E3 to shreds, let's talk about the things that were actually announced and presented to us. So I have some notes here, but I'm assuming, Chad, your notes are probably much more thorough.
I mean, it's a possibility.
Do you want to kind of sum up what you thought of day one in particular? I have on here that Ubisoft was a big showcase, and then we also had a showcase from Gearbox Software.
Right. Yeah. So it started with Ubisoft. Ubisoft, I kind of said in my predictions that they weren't really going to show anything of note. They ended up showing something of note at the end, which we'll get to. They showed Rainbow Six Extraction, which if you're into Rainbow Six might be sweet. Not really up my alley. It's like a co-op PvE type of alien game with the operators from Siege, which I'm sure is going to get its following. I think Far Cry 6, I hate Far Cry. Since Far Cry 3, I thought they've all been bad. But and I can't remember the actor. Is it Giancarlo Esposito or something like that? Okay, his villain in that game looks amazing, and I will be playing just for his performance in that game because I think it's going to really set the game off because it's everything they showed of him. Yeah, Moff
there
Gideon,
he is.
right? Yep.
Old Gus Fring from Breaking Bad.
Yep, same thing, and I think he's just everything they showed about him. I just want to see more of it. So
yeah, that like little cinematic clip that they showed was really cool.
Right. And then the big announcement for Ubisoft, at least for me, was the Avatar game. Now, I think I predicted that they were going to show a snippet of their Star Wars game that they're working on, but I kind of forgot that this Avatar game was even a thing, and I knew it was a thing. And I got to be honest, it looks beautiful. I'm not that big into Avatar. I saw it once. I don't really know why it's getting a game this far down the road.
They're making
they're
making sequels to it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I it looks cool. I'm not going to say that it doesn't. I just know that it's probably going to fall under the category of another Ubisoft open world with a bunch of boxes to check off and camps to clear and typical Ubisoft stuff.
Yeah.
So that was the highlights for me from Ubisoft. I didn't really feel like, I didn't think they were going to show anything on the Star Wars game, so I wasn't that let down by not seeing anything at all or even like a hint at it. But what do you think?
So I had written down here about Rainbow Six Extraction. I'm not a big Rainbow Six guy, but the whole PvE versus aliens thing kind of threw me off. I was like, is this like, I wonder how this is going to make like the Tom Clancy fan base feel.
Right.
Because, all those games seem to be super grounded in realistic, military tactical sims, basically.
Yeah. To a point. The Division is Tom Clancy. And that's not even a Tom Clancy book.
True.
So
yeah, I guess I forgot about the Division.
It's just it's just like a name now at this point. They're just gonna slap Tom Clancy on everything and fork it out on us because they're Ubisoft.
But I did really like how they talked about all the cross-play and cross-progression between like Stadia and Luna and PC, and then all that is, I think I wrote down here, June 30th will be starting. And then cross-play and cross-progression between Xbox and PlayStation in early 2022, which is pretty cool.
Pretty cool, yeah.
Not only the cross-play, but the cross-progression is awesome. So like,
right,
your
you can just pick it up,
can carries over, which is clutch. Rocksmith Plus looked really cool. I mean, I have this guitar here chilling on my wall. I have a couple of you guys can't see above my monitors. And it's basically Guitar Hero, but like you actually use real guitars, and you can actually learn how to play or like refine your skills playing your actual guitar, plugging it into your console or PC or phone or whatever, and use it as like a tool, a practice tool, a resource. It came out, I think they said like 10 years ago or something, and now they're like bringing Plus that has like a whole bunch of other comprehensive features and giant library of songs and practice tools, which I thought was pretty cool.
I just want to point something out on that game real quick. Okay, so that was your notes for that, which you thought was cool. This is how different gamers are. Okay, I wrote Rocksmith, game that teaches you to play guitar, boring.
Yes.
Boring.
Yes. It's so dumb. Why is this even here? Yeah, but that's hilarious. And that's why I like our show, because we're all three very different people. So you get a wide variety of takes and opinions and stuff. They also announced Riders Republic, which is something I probably would never touch, but they announced it. Looks like a neat biking game if you're into that. Assassin's Creed Valhalla, Siege of Paris expansion coming this summer.
I gotta be honest, that to me looked like a lot of stuff, and I think that it was a free update too. It looked like a lot of stuff they were adding into that Valhalla update, and a lot of cool. I think there was like a portion where it like lets you play like cutting down trees and stuff like you guys like just being a townsperson. So I was like, it's kind of cool.
Yeah, they announced the Discovery Tour, which I'm sure Nick is familiar with. In this, is that like an Assassin's Creed thing across the board?
Yeah, they started that in, if it's the same as what I'm thinking, in Origins. Essentially they had like actual historians and archaeologists basically vet the game, and you can go through, you basically just walk around as your character, but you take a interactive tour of actual sites and get history. I like that kind of stuff. It was fun in Origins. I have not done it I haven't played Odyssey. I'll probably pick up Valhalla when I pick up a PS5, and
Vikings.
I will allude later as to when and why I'm going to get PS5 this year. There's a game on E3 here that makes it worth it.
I might have a console update for everyone too.
Ooh.
And it's going to be something you don't expect. But yeah, the Discovery Tour for Valhalla free this fall, which is kind of cool. I really dig the whole historical aspect of it. I thought that was really neat. They kind of dove into that. Cool, and then they said that they're going to continue to support this game. So that also was pretty cool. Then you got the Far Cry 6 thing, and haven't played any of the Far Cry games. Also haven't played any of the Assassin's Creed games. So there you go. Actually, I haven't played any of the games talked about so far. So, but yeah, I was captivated by the cinematic clip that we got from Far Cry 6, though I don't think I would actually like the game. We got Mario plus Rabbids, Sparks of Hope, like a turn-based.
Yeah, it's like
a cool Mario game with Rabbids.
It sounds odd, but it's supposedly cool. I've never played it, but the first one I think sold pretty well. Yeah.
It kind of looked sweet. I don't know. I used to like really not like those Nintendo games and stuff, but a lot of Nintendo stuff caught my eye this year. Then the Avatar game that you talked about. And then they made film and TV announcements, actually. So they talked a little bit about Mythic Quest, an Apple TV series. I don't have Apple, so I haven't watched it, but it is a series that I probably would watch and enjoy if I had Apple. It's about like gaming developers and studio. It's got the gentleman from It's Always Sunny in it, one of those gentlemen. And then they announced and showed a couple trailers for the movie Werewolves Within, which actually looks I've talked about it here, and it looks funny. It kind of reminds me of like Shaun of the Dead, but with werewolves. It seems interesting. It seems like it's also another kind of like Army of the Dead mishmash of genres that you wouldn't expect. So it's like a werewolf movie, but also like a whodunit, like Clue type
Right.
genre. So it's like I would never really expect those two genres to go together, but that sounds interesting.
Right.
Kind of like a zombie apocalypse bank heist.
Yeah, true.
But yeah, so that pretty much sums up the Ubisoft announcements.
I was a little shocked that we didn't get an update on the Division movie with Netflix, which just seemed to like disappear for some reason. Like I thought I had read last that they finished filming it and now it's just gone. And I can't believe there was a lot, and I felt like that a lot through a lot of these press conferences. I was kind of shocked at some of them. I was like, just give us like something, just say, hey, we're still doing it. Just to let you know.
Thing.
Yeah.
Did you
We're
catch
used
any
to
of
it.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Did you catch any of the Ubisoft stuff, Nick?
I didn't watch a lot of it. This is more one where I just saw like the list, and that's really about it. But Far Cry 6, looks cool. Doesn't, probably will never play it. I think I got Far Cry 4 with my PlayStation 4 from who I bought it from. I played like the intro and just it didn't stick.
Yeah, it's not.
The
best one was Far Cry 3, and
Darn.
I feel like they've been chasing that high ever since then.
Does that one have like the Blood Dragon or whatever DLC?
Yeah, which was the like 80s techno thing.
Yeah.
Dude, that is. I got to be honest, it's like one of the coolest DLCs for a game I've ever played. It was just a cool knockoff. It had like the 80s. Music to it and everything. It was awesome.
I will say they did also announce a thing with Far Cry. Is it a game mode or a separate game where basically you play as the villains from 3, 4, and 5?
It's a separate game mode, and I think it's cool because out of everything in those games, the villains are always the best. And some of them, especially 4, the villain is kind of not in it that much when he really should have been.
Nice.
And then you had the like David Koresh like villain in Far Cry 5. And then the guy from 3 is just fantastic. Every scene that he's in is fantastic. So I think that they probably heard their fans talking about how much they love the villains and they gave them an option to play as them. And I think that's really cool.
That's neat. And the clips they showed were super trippy. And I was like,
right.
That looks pretty cool. And knowing nothing about the franchise at all, I was like, that looks kind of cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, so after Ubisoft, Gearbox came up and their showcase was underwhelming.
Very incredibly underwhelming.
Just basically a giant chunk of it was an update on the Borderlands movie.
And just a weird update to it.
Yeah, which was basically not really updating us on anything. It was just like, yep, we're making it.
Yeah, well, it was like walking.
Chad said, but they were like walking through the set. And
they walked through the set.
Show you anything.
They showed like a gun, talked to a couple actors. Kevin Hart's in there. For some reason, I don't know what he's playing in Borderlands. I have a feeling that this Borderlands movie is going to be absolutely awful.
Yeah, and it's when it was announced, I was shocked because I mean there is a story to Borderlands, but we all know why you play Borderlands.
Right.
You play it for like just the goofy nature of the game and the 100 trillion zillion weapons you can get.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm just like real curious on how they're gonna handle the movie here. But the cast is there's a good cast, like Jamie Lee Curtis, Jack Black, Kevin Hart.
It's just it sounds like it's gonna be the Jumanji movie to me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The second
true,
that's what it feels like to me. And I think is Ariana Grande in there too? It's like just a weird cast. It's It's a weird game to make it's a weird game to make a movie out of.
Yeah.
It's like the equivalent of making a Mario movie back in the day. Like that makes no sense whatsoever.
Wasn't that a good movie?
Yeah, no.
The live action Mario movie was so great.
Yeah, but it's just I don't
gives
know.
me nightmares.
And we talked about this on the show before. I think at least Netflix is getting on board with the animated movies based off of video games with Castlevania. They showed Splinter Cell, I think, at the Ubisoft, like at the end there at Ubisoft, and it looked really, really cool. So I think that's the way to go. I think this Borderland movie is going to be absolutely terrible. So
Yes.
Find out.
They also announced Tiny Tina Wonderlands for early 2022.
Right.
So basically a
it's
full game based off of the DLC from
yeah.
Borderlands 3, I
Yeah,
think.
so it's like a fantasy world inspired by Borderlands. I thought it looked pretty cool. I
Yeah.
never played Borderlands. I played maybe a little bit of 2. I wanted to play 3 when it came out, but I just didn't get around to it. But this looks cool. I'm not gonna
Yeah.
lie. I think it's a cool spin-off. But
Yeah. Played 1 and 2, super fun, especially if you play with someone else. Co-op is
Right,
like the
right.
best way to play that game. So good. So Tiny Tina's Wonderlands probably going to be great. Her character was introduced in the last game that I played. I didn't play her DLC, but her character was hysterical in the
Yeah.
game that she was in. So I can only imagine what the DLC and this separate game is going to be like. It's probably going to be great. We have Homeworld 3 RTS announcement, which I saw
Yeah,
Nick
I figured
highlighted
Nick
here
was
in
gonna
our
be yeah.
Google Doc here. So why don't
Dude.
you talk about this?
All right, so I'm super excited for that because I bought Homeworld 2 on Steam because it was on like some ridiculous sale, I think last summer, like $2 or whatever. And I went to play it. It did not age well. I also think it didn't port well, just to the current, resolutions and all that jazz. So I played it maybe like 2 or 3 hours, and it was kind of clicking, but it just didn't get there for me. So if they can pull off a really good Homeworld 3, which an RTS, I don't know, you can't really mess those up too much. At worst it could be 10% worse than 2 was, or 10% better. So I'm just excited to get like another Homeworld present day new build out of that. So I like me a good RTS, especially in space.
Yes.
If only someone would come along and give me Empire at War 2, which is the Star Wars RTS in space.
Oh, right, yeah. So I had wrote down that. Did you play the remasters of Homeworld?
Let me check Steam real quick.
Okay. So yeah, I think there's because they either hinted at it in the press conference that they're coming out with remasters, or they were already out, and then they said, "Hey, by the way, Homeworld 3 is coming." So maybe the remasters would be a little bit better. I've never played them before. Like I think we talked about it on here before. RTS really isn't my thing. I've tried multiple games, and it just never clicks with me for whatever reason.
Same.
I have the remasters.
I tell that to Nick all the time. I'm always like, RTS games are always, or RTS or the I guess Civ is an RTS in a way, right? Yes.
Yeah, it's a 4X. It's not real time strategy. That's the thing. Multiplayer is technically maybe a RTS because it's real time ish, but there's turn based, which are mostly like 4X, and then there's the actual RTS like Age of Empires, Warcraft, all that jazz, StarCraft.
Those two styles of games are both games where I see something, I'm like, that looks so cool.
Yeah.
And then I turn it on for like 20 minutes and I'm like, I hate this. But I want so badly to love it. So yeah, that's my experience there. Yeah, I figured Nick would probably be excited about that announcement. They had also then Tribes of Midgard, which
is that about Thor?
It's like Valheim if it was more focused on the PvE stuff and less focused on the Minecraft stuff.
Yeah.
It's like a 10-player co-op thing, but there's like more just more focus on like bosses and fighting things.
Yeah.
Look kind of cool, not gonna lie. And then they announced Godfall, which I'm not familiar with at all.
Yeah, I think they announced an update for Godfall, and then I believe they said it was coming to the PS4, which it was a PS5 launch game, so now it's going backwards onto the PS4, and that always, for whatever reason, really confuses me and drives me crazy that they do that.
Is that a sequel to Titanfall?
No.
It's a joke.
Not at all.
Also to your joke.
It's just
bad Nick.
Yeah. I don't know. I didn't play it. It didn't really look that cool. It looked like a launch game, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, I wasn't impressed with what I saw. And then also was like, why are you announcing it's coming to PS4? No one cares. Like,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah,
not like an
yeah.
E3 thing you announce.
PS4.
Right.
It's
right.
like a tweet that you send out.
You see this like in a lot throughout this E3, and I think it literally is the COVID thing that these people just don't have anything to show, and they're being forced to show something.
Yeah.
That's when we get to Xbox, you'll see the dates of some of these things that they're showing, or some of them are a ways off.
Yeah.
You know, and that I
will
never
say
understood that.
This one was kind of unfair because exactly what you said, like COVID just delayed so much stuff and threw wrenches in a lot of gears.
Right.
So
Why not like lean into that and just have a fun E3 that's just very self-aware? Instead, they're trying to make something out of it that it cannot be.
I'll be honest. There was, and I don't remember the specific game that it was, but there was like a funny trailer for a game making fun of developers not being ready for E3, and I really dug it.
Yes,
dude, I thought it was hilarious.
Oh man, I wish I knew what game it was because
it might be in my notes somewhere, but it was so funny.
I was laughing so hard when that came on. I was like, "This is perfect." Why doesn't every game do that?
Yeah.
Oh, I think it was Outer Worlds 2.
Yeah, that is. Yep, you're right.
It's like, and this is the part where we play overly dramatic music.
Yeah,
it's so funny. And then the day one capped off with a little chat with Jordan Vogt-Roberts, director of the Metal Gear Solid movie and the upcoming Gundam movie as well, which I thought was kind of cool. We've, I believe, talked about the Gundam movie at least in one of our newscasts. But yeah, Metal Gear Solid movie as well.
I'm really, I have very, very, very high hopes for that movie. So I hope he nails it, because if you can't transition Metal Gear Solid into an action movie or a good movie, then something's wrong, man. You just need to stop making video game movies.
Game that's like 80% cutscene you can't make into a movie.
Right. Right. Just
don't have any material to go off of.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Well, this could either give you confidence or crush your hopes. But he was the guy who did Godzilla vs. Kong, I believe.
Yeah.
So
okay.
Just don't let him cut it.
Yeah, I'm not. Yeah, right.
Just no editing. Just
no editing. Keep those execs out of the editing room.
Yes. But then, so, that's day one. Nothing, really. I mean, Ubisoft announced a handful of things. I feel like, maybe Rainbow Six fans were either elated or angry at Extraction. But then you have, Far Cry 6, which I think made a lot of people happy. The Assassin's Creed Valhalla stuff was pretty cool. But yeah, overall, and then I know Avatar. A lot of people got excited about that.
I know people are going to be pumped about that, and I kind of am too. I thought it looked beautiful. I thought the trailer looked beautiful. The world's awesome. So
what type of game is that?
Great. It's going to be an open world game.
So okay, see, that might be a sleeper, just because that's a pretty solid IP, and if they do that game right and they just don't put too much pressure on it, it could be really cool.
Yeah, so I think it could be.
Yeah. So yeah, we'll see what comes of that. But like Nick said, they have like 3 or 4 sequels, basically all filming at the same time. Isn't old Cameron just like at the bottom of the ocean or something? So who knows what's actually going on. But then day 2 came, and this was a big one. We had Microsoft and Bethesda taking up a nice chunk of the day. But we also had Square Enix, and then we had the ridiculous, cringeworthy PC gaming show, followed by the less but still cringeworthy future games show. But there's a lot going on here. So Microsoft, Bethesda, what did you think, Chad?
I literally was sitting on the couch this was about to start, and I said to my wife, I was like, get me back, Microsoft. This is your chance. You're not competing with Sony this year. Win me back. And they pop out and they show Starfield right out the gate. I was like, oh my goodness, it's finally happening. They're finally showing this game. By the end of that trailer, I was pretty underwhelmed. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, you're like, Starfield.
Yeah, it sounds cool. Skyrim in space is how they're describing it. It sounds awesome. The graphics are nothing to write home about. I thought for a cinematic trailer, I didn't think it looked that great. They didn't really show that much. Yeah, they didn't really show that much besides, panning shots.
Yeah.
But the whole concept of it is cool. I like that they are. I don't want to say they're partnered with Elon Musk and SpaceX, but they at least were talking to them in some form to get their space travel down. So they said that space travel in the game's going to be dangerous like it was back in the 60s. I think that could be a cool element to the game. You could get stranded on planets and stuff. I think it's got potential. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
It just didn't wow me like I was expecting it to. And I just literally got off of a space kick. I mean, I was really into this stuff and I was really amped for this.
You just played Mass Effect. So
that's
your
true.
expectations are a little up there.
But I think that was the popular consensus there, was just everyone was super amped about a Starfield announcement, and then we're just literally
it came first.
Starfield.
It came first, which I thought was odd because when we get later down, I think it should have came last. It maybe would have had a little bit more of an impact. Yeah. It's not coming till November, I think, of 2022, which is not that close. So, and I almost guarantee it's probably going to get delayed because it's Bethesda. Right. So, I mean, it's not going to make me buy an Xbox. I want it to. They also said, for whatever reason, the gaming community thought that this was going to also come to PlayStation. So a lot of people were really upset when they announced that it was exclusive to Xbox, but Microsoft bought Bethesda.
Yeah.
So for you to even think that was going to happen, you're just not thinking. So, I mean, I know that people are upset about that, but
are all the games in this section Xbox only?
No.
Okay, thank God.
No.
But the Bethesda ones.
The Bethesda ones, yes. Yep.
Yeah, I do think the Starfield announcement suffered from being first, because if you throw it last, then you're like, what the heck? I thought we were supposed to get a Starfield announcement. So anything would have been like, oh, yes.
Yeah, right.
There's Starfield. But then you started off with that, and then you just get a cockpit.
Wow. Yeah, right. You just,
Oh, cool. A dashboard.
Yeah, right.
Nice.
Oh, they put the date on the dashboard. Like we weren't going to notice the obvious date on the dashboard.
Right.
But I don't want to hate on it too much because they just haven't shown enough of it yet. But yeah, it's definitely, in the way that it looked right there, is not going to make me run out and buy an Xbox. Personal opinion.
Hey, this is great because I always fanboy out on everything on this show, and I hardly ever criticize anything. So this is a new side of me you guys are seeing tonight. I've been kind of, a little critical of E3 and some of the announcements. I mean,
it's very rare for Mike, definitely.
It is. But, sometimes you just got to bring the heat. This is not heat.
Not at all.
But here, we'll run through all the announcements. I'm just going to go real quick. Every title announced for Microsoft Bethesda, because...
Okay, I might stop you, though. But
no, that's great. We need to do that. Some absolute hero timestamped this in the top comment of the YouTube video. And then I just snipped that little thing, and then Nick and I highlighted and chunked off the games that excited us. But yes, we will definitely pause and talk. So Starfield was first. We already talked about that. Stalker 2 was second.
Yeah, sorry, you got to pause. I think it looks awesome.
Okay.
Personal opinion, I didn't play the first one. I have a weird obsession with Chernobyl. And I think it's a cool concept for a game. I thought it looked really good. I thought the trailer was a little too long. It seemed
Very
like
long.
It was taking up quite a bit of the press conference. But I liked what they showed. I don't know that I'll play it because I'm not the biggest first-person shooter guy, but it has something going for it. It's coming April 22nd of 2022, I think. So
look at that doggo.
Yeah, he's just chilling in the back, man, just sleeping.
He was dreaming. He was doing little yelps back there.
I'm also a sucker for Chernobyl stuff. But for some reason I don't know if it was just the trailer itself being 5 minutes long of
it was a little long,
Russian dialogue for the main part,
right?
Knowing nothing about Stalker stuff. I was just like, just show me some cool stuff. I want to get excited about this because like the name Stalker sounds cool, and then we're talking about Chernobyl, and I'm like, oh, this is great. But then like I was just like, okay, when's the great stuff
Kind of
gonna come?
I like the Medal of Honor like 2 look and feel of it, right?
Yeah.
And where it wasn't like overly animated, where you just kind of like walk up the stuff, you like get it. There isn't like
Right.
an over emphasis on the interaction with the environment. It's just like get your items, load the gun, shoot, right?
Right.
Very kind of not linear, but that kind of boxy like turning. It's a good feel to it, I think.
Yeah. That's always something that kind of drives me nuts in games is like how like in Red Dead when your character has to do everything, and then in Ghost of Tsushima you can just walk by a bush and just grab whatever you need. Take the tree, loot the bodies. You don't have to get off the horse, walk over to it with your
get out your
bend
knife.
over. It's like I mean I get why you're doing it, but your game's also really really long, so maybe you should cut some of this stuff out of it.
Yeah, exactly.
So
at some point we can skip over the realism to just
especially
get some
in shooters.
quality of life
Right.
stuff.
I thought, and shooters definitely. And then I thought Ghost of Tsushima handled it perfectly because it doesn't take you out of what you want to be doing, which is fighting. I don't want to be cutting up, animal parts. I want to be fighting.
That's
So-
what the
Yeah.
Assassin's Creeds do. And that's always a good RPG mix in there, especially when you're combat focused. But like as soon as you take that step into shooters, it's not a gathering and crafting game.
Yeah, right.
We just
And
want
I'm
to
not-
shoot things as quickly as possible.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Get us to the action.
I thought a lot of it, and the like Geiger counter thing they showed in the trailer, I thought was really cool. I think it's got a cool aesthetic to it. And there was another Chernobyl game this E3 too.
Like Chernobyl Light. or
Chernobyl
something.
Light, yeah. It was
And the
it's like
super
another-
cringe future game show.
but it's like another thing. Like, why Chernobyl games all of a sudden? You know what I
Because
mean?
of the
Like,
HBO show.
Probably,
made
probably.
it hot.
Yep.
It kind of gave me some like Metro vibes a little bit.
A lot of people said that. Yeah, definitely. Especially the
nice.
newest one, Exodus, I think is the newest one. A lot of people were comparing it to that. So
Well, good. I'm not alone. Stalker 2 was second. Then we had Back for Blood, which
I mean, it's a spiritual successor to the Left 4 Dead series. I think it looks cool. I think it's going to get its following. Not my type of game. And here's another thing I would like out of E3 next year. I don't want every game to be a 4-player co-op game, which seemed like there was so many of them this E3. But Back for Blood was not something I thought needed to be in the press conference because it was already out there.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it looks cool. I played Left 4 Dead very little. It's coming October 12th. It'll get its following, but not for
has
me.
like competitive multiplayer too, right?
Right.
So you can
Yep.
play as the monsters and the humans.
Yep.
Gave me very like, you remember that game Evolve?
Yep.
Yeah.
It gave me Evolve vibes, which that game was super fun.
Right.
I was a sleeper.
Yeah, I miss it. It needs to come back. Then we had Contraband, which there wasn't much shown. It was kind of like just a cinematic trailer type thing. Then we
And
had
the biggest crossover event ever.
Sea of Thieves update, the Jack Sparrow update.
Yeah, man, I think it's cool. I haven't played Sea of Thieves, obviously. I think it looks cool. I
Mhm.
think the Pirates of the Caribbean thing is a natural thing for them to do. I think it looks pretty sweet. But again, not selling an Xbox for me, which is kind of what I'm, still at this point in the press conference holding on to, something that's going to do that. But
Yeah, and this is number 5, by the way. And Chad's still like, I'm not going to spend my money yet. I'm
Right,
gonna go
Chad.
snap.
Question on this, and Mike and I pondered about it earlier this week. Do you think, or do you know if Johnny Depp voiced this, or do you think they spliced all the dialogue they ever have of him in the archives?
Or
of
got a
Disney?
good impressionist, because Johnny
Yeah.
Depp's, no pun intended, in a little bit of hot water these days.
right, I think that they probably, like you said, spliced it. I don't think they got him to do the voice acting. They didn't say that in the trailer, and I think that would have been something to say in the trailer
Yeah.
if that was the
Sure.
case. And then a lot of these games that have that are based off of movies don't use the same voice actor, so they could have just got a guy that's good at impersonating him. So
Yeah. I have always wanted to try out Sea of Thieves.
it looks cool. It looks
You
cool.
can play it on PC.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Yeah.
Might have to tell
That's
Crossland
the-
about it.
I mean, that's where-
Resident
that's-
Valheim Sailor. So
Yeah, and that's where Bim plays it. Like he don't play an Xbox that I know of.
Bim
Yeah.
plays Sea of Thieves
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Or no, or he plays Atlas.
and Atlas,
Okay.
another pirate game.
Yeah, the other freaking pirate game MMO thing.
Yes. Then we had Yakuza, which I'm expecting Chad to have something to say about.
Yeah, I mean, it's just coming to Game Pass. Nothing really exciting.
was-
It's a game that came out.
So
a
tell me
while
about
ago.
this Game Pass thing, because it's like every single announcement that they made, they're like play day one on Game Pass. Or
Yeah, so it's actually a pretty big deal, I think. I think that it's something maybe Sony should maybe look at doing. It's kind of like I think they compare it to like a Netflix for gaming. So it's a subscription service, and a lot of these games, and I think I wrote in my notes, like they said at the end, 27 of the 30 games that they showed at the press conference are coming to Game Pass day one. So, or already on there. So I think it's big, and I think they're leaning into it. I think they should be leaning into it. I think it's one of the biggest selling points of the Xbox that you're going to subscribe to this and you're going to have access to all these games.
What's it
And-
cost? Do you know?
I'm not entirely sure, to be honest. I want to say
Sounds like
20. I want to say
Sounds like
20 a month.
15.
Yeah, 15 maybe.
Mm.
It's not expensive, but
Oh,
to
interesting.
get some of the stuff that you're getting day one, I mean, it's
Yeah, that saves you a crap load of money.
right. Yeah, I mean,
If you're
they
even
definitely
if you're just getting one new game a month, like that's
Right.
$60 and you're
Yeah.
paying 15.
it seemed like originally Sony kind of started doing the free game thing with PlayStation Plus, right?
Mhm.
Xbox had to match that with games for gold or whatever they call it. And then Sony tried to do PlayStation Now, which is like this. It's like a thing that you subscribe to and you get access to all these games. The problem with it is you stream the games, and a lot of these games don't stream very well for a lot of people that don't have,
Great
awesome,
internet,
great internet. So some of them can be downloaded. That's cool. I think they all need to be able to be downloaded, and that would have probably, I don't want to say crushed Microsoft's version of it, but at least competed with it. I don't think PlayStation Now is competing with Game Pass in any sense. And that's the reason, because you can't download the games, you have to stream them. So
So weird.
Yeah.
That's such a
Very.
requirement.
yeah, it's very, very odd. And a lot of the ones that you can download are like only the new games. So I don't know if it's like, I don't know what the issue is, to be honest.
I just like that
Interesting.
concept because you can completely avoid I just spent $60 on a busted game.
Right. Yeah. true.
Or I bought the legendary edition of whatever.
Yeah.
I did
Cyberpunk
that.
2077.
Yeah. Right.
I
Perfect.
bought the
example.
deluxe edition of Andromeda, and I was sad about that for a while, but
Right.
I'm okay now. I'm gonna replay it after our last conversation. So
Yeah. Yeah. It's worth it.
And then I think this is the PS5 selling moment for Nick.
Yeah. Yeah.
Battlefield 2042.
Oh my god, yes,
So
it's back. It
the
looks
floor
back.
is yours, Nick.
I'm not gonna say Battlefield's back. I can't even say it was gone because I haven't played quite a few of them. Really, I haven't played since 4. I kind of skipped all the confusing numbering. So, no, this looks like, I said this, I think to Mike and maybe you, Chad, but it looks like it 3 gameplay with 4 graphics, obviously maybe even, better than 4 graphics, and just like newer concepts. But I just feel like Battlefield's back, and even further back, because I remember playing 2142 on the PC, and that was just absolute insanity, with like mechs and just 64, maybe 128 at the time on PC, something really high. But like, it's just ridiculous. Those games are just so much fun. And I played a lot of 2 and a lot of 3 multiplayer in college with my roommates. That's just like timeless memories right there. So it's coming out on 4, but it's going to be on
You need a
5. And I
You
think
need a
I
5.
need 5 for
Yeah.
this. And it comes out in October, which is great because I can do the whole like Christmas PlayStation 5 to myself and then get Battlefield here with it. So I'm most excited for that game by far, just because it looks like my re-entry into the competitive online shooter that I need in my life.
Right. Yeah. I feel exactly the same way. Like I think it looks awesome. It's a return to form. Okay. I didn't like, and I talked about it on the show. I didn't like Battlefield 1. Battlefield 2 did not feel like a World War II game in any fashion. I don't know why until they did like the Pacific update, and then it's kind of felt like a World War II game. But this is what I want out of Battlefield. The gameplay they showed is awesome. The swapping the attachments on the fly thing is such a cool idea that I don't understand why it's just all of a sudden being used. I know some other games use it.
Yeah.
But it's just so cool that, especially for me, because I love sniping, but I also like finding a nest somewhere to snipe, so I can like swap out attachments real quick to clear a building and stuff. It looks awesome, man. I can't wait for it, and that's saying a lot because I haven't been like that for Battlefield since 4.
Right.
So I think that as long as they nail the sniping feel to it, it looks like they're nailing everything else.
And I think that's where 4 fell short for me. I think I felt like sniping was broken or just wasn't as good as 2 and 3. It was immaculate in 3.
Oh man, 3 was 3's definitely the best. It got a lot better in 4 as they patched it.
Yeah.
But at the beginning, I think it wasn't necessarily the sniping was broke. I think everything was broke. It just something was not right. And you definitely feel it. And then
that's the big thing about those games is like 2 and then especially 3 felt right. It felt so grounded and self-aware of, what it was supposed to be. And then 4 was that like first step toward the like Call of Duty phase they kind of went through.
Right. And we said it here before. I don't want that out of Battlefield. You're not competing with Call of Duty as far as I'm concerned, because even though they're both military shooters, they're, in my book, up until the more recent ones, totally different because of the scale of Battlefield. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And the realism, the fact that camping is a thing because it is a thing in actual warfare. Like you camp, but it allows you to, it properly executes that mechanic. Like,
right.
It's done correctly.
It's much more immersive feeling than Call of Duty is, where you're just spawning and dying, and Battlefield. I mean, I gotta be honest. I think I uploaded a couple like on my YouTube channel, which has no videos except for Battlefield videos because I accidentally uploaded them from the PS4 with the share function back in the day. But some of those games on there, I mean, I had like 7 kills, which is not a lot at all, but I had the time of my freaking life, man. Yeah. It was awesome. Yeah. So that's what I want: the destructible areas. I want buildings blown up. It looks like they're returning to that, and just the fact that they're adding bots into it. I know a lot of people are kind of upset about the bot thing. To me, every military shooter should have bots in it, because there's always times where you're not having a good night and you want to just go slay some bots,
Yeah.
So I think that it's going to be huge for Battlefield. I'm super pumped about it. I can't wait to see how they do the bots. I hope that it's the full lobby you can fill up with bots. That would be so cool. So yeah, day 1 pickup for me. October 22nd it comes out, and it will definitely be a day 1 for me. Yeah.
Sounds like we're playing this.
Yeah, it definitely, like Nick said, sparked my interest back in FPS games. It gives me major Dust vibes, which if you've listened to the show at all at any point in time, you know that I was obsessed Dust and had a major obsession with a little game called Dust 514 on PS3. But just the large scale of the battles, the vehicle warfare, the size of the maps, and like Chad said, I'm not a great shooter. That's not what I excel at. What I did in Dust was play a supportive role. So like I would heal people, like provide ammo and stuff like that. And
be our medic.
Yeah, exactly. I was just going to say, be a medic, man.
Yeah. So like
get those defibrillators out.
Yeah.
All the points.
So the large scale, the squad based stuff in Battlefields, it was very enticing, and obviously graphically it looked amazing. Like crazy storms and like just pure chaos on the battlefield. It just brought back so many memories of like, dropping in on planets in New Eden in Dust 514 with my, guild back in the day and just tearing up battlefields and playing actual roles in the fights themselves and not just everyone running around guns blazing trying to kill as many people as possible, but like having actual strategy and like all that stuff. Not saying you can't do that in Call of Duty, but it's a little bit harder than games like Battlefield and especially games like Dust. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, obviously I would have to get it on PC, and I don't know if they're going to have cross-platform, but
I haven't heard anything about crossplay on it yet. It wouldn't shock me if they did that. I feel like I think Call of Duty Modern Warfare was. I would imagine Cold War was. So I think I think here in a couple years we're going to be crossplay with most of everything, which is how it should be.
I know Warzone is because I played that with my brother and his friend, and his friend was on Xbox, my brother was on PlayStation, and I was on PC. So
yeah, I played.
Come on, if Call of Duty can do it, Battlefield,
you can do it, right? Before we move off of Battlefield, last week I was asking Nick what was the game where you could go to different players, and it's Battlefield 2 Modern Combat. That was the name of it. And it was cool because the single player let you like, okay, there's a recon guy over there. I can literally go and play as him.
Gotcha.
I could shoot across the map and play as him. Oh, now I need a medic. Shoot across and play as a medic. It was super cool. I wish they'd bring it back. This one, which I thought was a little weird because I can't think for the life of me any Battlefields that did this. It's not going to have a single player campaign. So take that for what it is. I think that it may be a good thing for DICE because they can just focus on the multiplayer, and that's their bread and butter, really. I mean, the campaigns are always cool, but probably not a lot of people play them, if I'm being honest.
I mean, we all played them once, just to play through it, and you got like some stuff, and you got some level up through it, and obviously just gets you settled in the game. But at this point, it's not really required because I mean, this is gonna be crazy, and I also really like the time placement 2042. It's not 2142, which I already have, and it's not World War One. It's 20 years away for us here. So I saw because at first I was like, I put it together when I saw the dude like jump off the building or crane and he was able to zip to the crane. I was like, that's perfect because sometimes traversing the battlefield took time. So if they can add some like, some additional quality of life things like that are just fun, that can make that game insane.
Yeah, I thought that was really cool, and all I could think of is he was zipping up to that crane, and there was like a crane in 4 that I would always snipe off of, and it was like such a pain to get back up there when you died if you didn't, So I think that's going to be really cool. I think the traversal stuff looks cool. The flying suit looks cool. Everything about it looks cool, man. It's just I'm wary of how it's going to release. I hope it's put together. And I'm hoping that the lack of a campaign will assure that it comes to us put together. But we'll
forget
see.
the campaign.
Fingers crossed. So after Battlefield 2042, we had 12 minutes. Looked like a smallish, just narrative game. A lot of actors in that voice acting. That I think I saw James McAvoy, Willem Dafoe.
It was actually like and I think it still is a small indie studio that's doing it, but it's like a time loop game. They showed it at E3 like years ago, and then it disappeared, and it all of a sudden popped back up here coming out in August. So I'm probably going to pick it up because I was intrigued back then. I'm always intrigued with time loop kind of games like that. So it's like, you get 12 minutes to figure out what's going on. I think it's like a murder mystery type of deal. Like you wake up and your wife is dead or something, and you got 12 minutes to figure out, and then you reset. And I think it looks really, really cool. Yeah,
it's a very interesting concept, and just powerhouse voice acting behind all of that. So it'll be interesting. Then we had Psychonauts 2, Fallout 76 update, which Nick has blocked out here that he was interested in. I'm not quite sure why. last I knew, I thought Nick liked chicks, but apparently,
What are you talking about?
that was a terrible joke. But yeah, so why are you excited about this Fallout 76 update, sir?
Who said I'm excited about it?
Yeah.
You did. You blocked it off. You red squared this. on
Okay,
this
so just because I like to see games get continued support and expansions and things like that, because I was excited for Fallout 76. Maybe I wasn't excited, but it's not a Fallout game. It was taking it in the online direction. So I was just happy to see that, substantial content. They're still kind of supporting it. It looked a little bit more put together just based on the gameplay.
I think it is. Yeah, I think it got a lot better, but
yeah,
it's one of those things that kind of the damage was done at the beginning for a lot of people.
I'm probably never going to play it, but it's Bethesda, and that's like kind of one of their bread and butter IPs. And the same thing goes for, the next one, even though that's not really worth an announcement. I don't really know what the big deal was there.
Was an Elder Scrolls probably expansion update or something. We've had our dabbling with ESO. Pretty cool. Didn't quite stick long term, but I enjoyed my time in it. It was fun. What I would really love is a Starfield online. I mean, I know we haven't even got Starfield,
right?
But just saying. Put that in your back pocket, Bethesda.
If it's my money, I don't want Bethesda making any multiplayer stuff. I want them making Skyrim. I want them making the sequel to Skyrim, a sequel to Fallout that's not online. It just doesn't seem like it's their thing. And I know that those games got patched and are much better than they were originally, but it's just not their thing. That's not what I want out of Bethesda. I don't know. The weird thing. Well, we'll talk about it at the end with Elder Scrolls. We'll talk about it at the end, I'm sure.
Because ESO, not great on launch.
No,
if I'm remembering correctly. But
I mean,
when we played it, last year or
maybe 2 years ago,
2019, it's pretty cool. It seemed to be more on par with your typical MMO type games.
Right. Yeah, that game's gone through quite an evolution, just like kind of Lord of the Rings Online did. But the other thing though with Bethesda and Fallout 4. So here's the thing, to Chad's point, where they need to stick with the single player stuff. Fallout 4 launched pretty busted, or it had a god awful amount of bugs, but it was still fun and people liked it. So that's the difference. They released 2 busted games, one not online, one online. Right. The online one can't recover.
Yeah.
Fallout 4 recovered.
Yeah, I agree with that. I've never been a Bethesda guy. I think maybe Fallout 4 was my first Bethesda game, and I played it at launch. So it's that might be why I'm so turned off. Yeah, right. That's why
people like these guys. This game sucks.
It was I played it and I beat it, and I was like, it's it's okay. It wasn't what I wanted, but it was okay. But yes, very broken, very glitchy, just very Bethesda-y.
Next up, we had Party Animals, which looked like a fun party game, kind of like I don't know, Super Smash with weird physics, funny looking stuffed animals.
Yes,
kind of what I got.
A great way to put it. Yeah, it's a kid's game. It looked okay.
Yeah, it looked kind of funny. Then we had Hades, which Nick had circled here, but yeah, I mean that's.
Pretty sure that's been out
a new
on
game.
Yeah,
it's been around for probably, I want to say a year. Or at least 6 months.
It's so the reason they put it in there is because it was hugely popular, and it's finally coming to Xbox on August 13th. So I think that's why they threw it in there. Okay. But yeah, I really want to get to that game. It's another roguelike like Returnal that I just played, where you die and you lose everything. But supposedly it's really, 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 really good. And I think it won Game of the Year last year, if I'm mistaken, from IGN or somebody.
Yeah, it's definitely had a lot of praise heaped on it, that's for sure. That's another one of those top-down isometric style games that look really cool and visually look beautiful. But then I try to play it and I'm like, I can't get into this.
Yeah.
I mean, you played Diablo. I mean, you probably really like
Oh,
Hades.
A little.
But
It's like-
Diablo's got the multiplayer aspect to it too, probably, right?
Mike doesn't do multiplayer.
Kind of feel like
multiplayer.
it's all he does, but you know, it's fine.
But yeah, then we had a little game called Somerville, which I thought actually this is a game I have highlighted. I thought it looked pretty cool. I don't know. Seems like a how would you describe this?
Sounds like Stardew Valley.
I mean, it kind of
I was just gonna say that. Yep.
also it wasn't this wasn't this the game that had the family and then like some like alien thing happened and it's like the family trying to get away?
No, that is. Oh yeah, maybe. Yeah. You're right. That is
Okay.
it. Yeah, I think. I really like the art direction on it. It had that like cell shaded look to it, and it reminded me a little bit of games like Inside and Limbo and those games. So I had this one highlighted too. I think it looks pretty cool.
Yeah, it's one of those games where I think I would like to watch someone play it.
Right.
I don't know if I would enjoy playing it myself.
Right.
But maybe
It's
I
a
would wanna.
BioCiv game. It's a BioCiv
Exactly.
game.
So,
Yeah.
Bio, if you're listening, I know you just played through Little Nightmares, and that was really fun to watch. I would also watch you play Somerville. Just saying. Then we had Halo Infinite and the Halo Infinite multiplayer, which everyone hyped for. Not a big
Hasn't
Halo
that been
guy.
out though? Or
No,
that's not
no,
the
this
not the
is-
remake.
This is
no.
brand spanking
This is
new Halo.
this is the new Halo.
No.
They showed it a year or two ago to very underwhelming. I mean, everybody was like, "What? This looks awful." The graphics weren't very good. They didn't really show anything Halo-y kind of, and it. As much as I dislike Halo at the point that it's at now, because I just feel like it's irrelevant, they listened to everybody. They delayed it, and then they came back, and I thought they showed off a pretty good trailer. I think that they, worked the game, and it looks really good right now. 120 FPS, I think, too, which is pretty big for a game of this size. But the trailer with Master Chief and Zero Gravity, I thought was super cool.
Yeah.
It looked super Halo-y. And then the multiplayer being free, I thought free to play, which was really, really, really cool. So it looks like Halo. I mean, if that's your thing, you're probably pretty amped. It hasn't been my thing since 3. Just not for me anymore,
Yep. Very true. True points. Halo is Halo. It's back and free multiplayer.
Coming holiday 2021. Also.
There you go. Right around the corner. BioCiv chimes in. He says, Somerville is on my list.
Yay. There you
Good
go,
man.
Mike.
You are a good man. Yeah. So then we have Diablo 2 Resurrected. Cool.
Yeah, I never played any of the Halo games, the Diablo games, but the upgrades that they were showing, like the visual upgrades showing the old game and the new one, it looks awesome.
Mhm.
So, I mean, there's obviously a group of people that want that game, and they're probably pretty amped about it.
It's everyone that didn't like 3 being not as dark and as good as 2.
Right.
And then 4 kind of just, 4 is, wait, did 4 come out?
No.
Right. So it's interesting. It makes sense that they would do that because people definitely want it.
Yeah.
Because they've wanted that since 3 came out, and it was just like this lighter, fun, or
Right.
less dark, less gritty kind of
Which
thing.
seems odd for a Diablo game, but
Yeah.
yeah, I definitely see why people were upset about it. But yeah, I mean, it looks really good compared to the old game when they were showing the side-by-side comparisons. I thought it's getting a major upgrade. I don't want to go remake level upgrade, but a pretty heavy remaster on it. So, and I think September 23rd it's coming.
As long as they don't like Warcraft it, where it looks awesome, but they're like, never mind.
Psych.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah. So again, not a huge Diablo guy, but cool. A new remastered. Then we have A Plague Tale Requiem. I have this one highlighted, but
Yeah, I do
the
too.
details are escaping me.
Yeah,
so I know there's
so-
a reason why I have it highlighted. So why don't you?
Yeah, so it's a sequel to Plague Tale Innocence, which I never played, and I get so much crap from all my friends for not playing it. But it is a stealth game like medieval times during the plague, and it looks awesome. And the trailer for this one looks amazing because they have like a giant wave of rats
Yes.
coming down the.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was like a big gameplay element to it, which were these plague infested rats that you also had to kind of watch out for along with all the other enemies. It looked really, really cool, and I know a lot of people liked it. It got really good reviews. I believe I could be wrong in this, but I believe it is now the sequel is an Xbox exclusive, which kind of sucks.
Hmm.
But you know, this one for me was kind of up there on the highlights, even though I haven't played the first game. It was up there on the highlights for me from Xbox and Bethesda.
Yeah.
Coming 2022. They didn't put an actual date on it, but it looks really, really good, I thought.
Yeah. Cool trailer. I think that's what caught my attention. But I've been burned by trailers before. Looking at you, Dead Island. Literally the most epic trailers for games ever. And
Right.
what a disappointment.
Yeah.
So then we had Far Cry 6, which we've already talked about. The next couple ones, unless you guys have any talking points, I'm just going to kind of blow through.
Yeah, I just
Slime
want
Rancher.
to point out Shredders. I thought looked kind of cool. I miss snowboarding games. Just a thing from my childhood that's gone that I want.
Yes. I do remember, I forget who I was talking to, but I said something along those lines. I'm like, oh, cool. Snowboarding game.
Yeah.
I haven't seen one of those since like what was there one called like Cool Borders or something?
Borders, man, that game.
Yeah,
Oh man, those
I
games
used to
are
play
fun.
that all the time. But yeah, so Slime Rancher, Shredders, Atomic Heart replaced the Shroom and Doom update of I forget the name of the tiny MMO. Grounded. That's it. Among Us. I'm gonna butcher this. Yuden Chronicle 100 Heroes.
Yeah, this to me looked really cool. It kind of had like an Octopath Traveler look to it, which is a JRPG on the Switch that I also haven't played, but I really, really want to. But it looked cool. I'm not gonna lie. I like the art style on those older JRPG games. You know.
The Ascent, and then here is a big boy for our friend Nick. Age of Empires 4.
Yep. RTSs are back.
Yeah. You nailed your prediction, man. I was so amped when I saw that.
Like, what was your reaction?
Well, I mean, it's kind of the same stuff. That was the sad thing is like it's the same trailer and stuff that came out like a few months ago. I think they had, already announced this really. Basically, it was the reveal for it, and that was kind of in and around when they were re-releasing the definitive editions of 1 and 2. I'm just excited for a modern version of the game, much like Homeworld. Like RTSs you can't do no wrong as far as a new one. It's really hard to botch them. They just move 10% one way or the other. That's what Civ does. It gets 10% better here, 10% worse here, and they just kind of deviate along this trend line. But though I am confused a little bit because it seems like it overlaps a lot with Age of Empires 2 as far as like the time period and like the different things they're covering. Like it looks like they have a Joan d'Arc campaign. They kind of highlighted that was in 2.
Yeah, right.
So I'm a little because usually it went like the first one was ancient times, like Roman, pre-Roman, and then we have more medieval times, which was 2. Then we have kind of like a colonization time, like in the Americas kind of thing. That was what 3 was all about. You have like Native Americans and all that jazz. So I'm not sure why 4 here is right now just kind of like pivoted over to just like an updated 2. Obviously, there's probably a ton of new mechanics and new features that we all wanted when 2 was around. So it kind of seems like just like a modern version of 2, which, it's back in that 10% up or down realm.
Yeah,
so
I think they had mentioned that a lot of the mechanics from the game are migrating directly from Age of Empires 2. So I think that's probably where you're getting that at. But I think it looks cool. I played Age of Empires 2, but that's the only one I played. Like I said, RTS really isn't my thing, but I was amped that they announced it. So
Yeah.
I see. I feel like you're almost saddened, or disappointed. Let down.
I think the whole like flashing and highlighting of like a Joan to Arc campaign, like that was literally in 2. So I just expected, just because the other 3 each were very distinctly different, for better or worse. For worse for the third one, just because they were taking too many steps in different directions from the second one, but it at least covered a completely different time period. There's like railroads and stuff, whereas I just feel like it's kind of like a modern 2. And even if it was a 2, they could have picked a completely different range of campaigns and civs and all that stuff. It's just, a little disappointing, but it'll be fun,
I apologize for anyone watching the stream. I keep pulling a Tezonde and like clearing my throat away from the microphone. Yes. If I bust out Chocolate Rain, I'm sorry. Yes. Then we had The Outer Worlds 2, which probably the best trailer of the entire convention.
Yeah, for sure.
If you didn't see this, you should go look it up. It was hysterical, and I was cracking up the entire time.
It's the way to show off a game when you have nothing to show off for the game, you know?
Right.
Yeah. I have it highlighted. I haven't obviously played The Outer Worlds, but I know Biosif had this on his list at some point, and I voted for him to play it, but he broke my heart and played something else, but it was still entertaining. But yeah, these games look interesting to me. I don't know if I ever will play them, but the trailer had me sold on this one just because of how funny it was. Then we had Microsoft Flight Simulator and the Top Gun Maverick, I believe, expansion or update or whatever.
Yeah, again, that's like another like the perfect thing to put into that game. You know what I mean? The perfect spinoff to add into it. I thought it was cool. I got to be honest, I never played a flight simulator in my life, but some of the things they showed in that trailer were beautiful, man. Some of the spots they were flying over. I mean, I get why it has a following, definitely.
Yeah, it looked beautiful.
Yeah.
And you're right, like Top Gun, perfect.
Yeah.
The only like
movie
flying,
coming out,
exactly.
It's all lining up. Stars have aligned.
Right.
The only flight style game I've played is War Thunder, and it was pretty cool. But I could imagine like an actual flight sim being pretty sweet.
Yeah, definitely.
Just zipping around.
Yeah, I miss the old like Ace Combat games, the older ones. I know they just came out with like Ace Combat 7. I didn't play it. It didn't really look that good, but the older ones were really cool. But it might have just been me as a kid loving Top Gun and wanting a game to match that.
Yeah. Then we had, I will say it right, Nick, Forza Horizon 5. I was like,
I had to send him the article on this.
I was dogging on everyone who said Forza.
Forza,
like, to Nick, I'm like, why are they saying Forza? There's no T.
Yeah.
Like, come on. And he's like, well, I pushed his glasses up and he's like, well, actually, this is an article saying exactly how you're supposed to pronounce it. You idiot. And I was like, oh, well, thanks.
Damn. So this game, one game of the conference, I think, from E3.
Oh, nice.
Which should be really everything you need to know about this E3, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I think it looks cool. I get it. Mexico looks beautiful. It's awesome. But game of the conference, like, come on. It's just, it should tell you what we got out of this E3. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's Mexico. November 9th, it's coming out. Thought the gameplay looked awesome. Like I said, the graphics are absolutely stellar.
It's like photorealistic.
Yeah, literally. Yeah.
The most beautiful game I've seen. And it's like, that's the gameplay.
Right.
I'm like, holy crap, this is literally nuts. I'm not a big driving game guy. I mean, I used to play like Gran Turismo 2 or something like way back in the day.
Yeah, I went through my phases too, definitely. And Forza was in those phases. But
I played the Forza that was in Colorado. That was like on the Xbox 360. That one
Mhm.
was pretty good.
Nice. This game makes me want to get back into it though.
Yeah,
like, it
man,
just looks so
it
cool.
does.
And
It
then they have
does.
like cool like mini games and like arcade style stuff too. But yeah, real interesting. But the game that I gotta say I was probably the most interested in from the Xbox stuff was Redfall. Just I looked at like an interesting story with some fun gameplay.
Yeah.
Seemed like a kind of goofy Borderlands-esque style shooter where you're like, going up against vampires and stuff. And I only
Yeah.
say Borderlands in terms of like the goofiness of
Right,
what we
yeah.
saw. The characters were, their
For
interactions
me-
were kind of funny and stuff like that.
Yeah, for me, I just got like a Fortnite with vampires vibe from it. I don't know if that's just me being facetious, but it's the new game from the people that Arcane Studios, I think,
Yeah,
which
sounds right.
did Prey, the Dishonored, and then they also did Deathloop, which is the PS5 exclusive that's not out yet, but it's exclusive again. It's another Bethesda game, so it's exclusive to Xbox. I thought it looked okay. My only problem with it was this was like the one more thing, and I was like, and then they showed Redfall. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Why?
Like that should have maybe been
That-
first, and the one more thing should have been like Starfield.
Absolutely,
Why don't
100%.
they pay us for this?
Yeah,
don't
I mean,
understand.
I get if you put Starfield first and then you show something totally wild, like maybe the Indiana Jones game that I wanted to see. That would have been a cool ender, but
You're
Redfall,
crazy, Chad.
it's like, just another freaking co-op game, man.
Yeah.
Another 4-player co-op game. It's either zombies,
Chad's
vampires.
favorite.
Yeah, it's just,
Tweaking out, man.
Well, we'll see. I think it had a
Yeah.
good aesthetic to it. The graphics to it looked really cool. It's coming summer 2022, day one on Game Pass, which is a big deal, like I said. So, I mean,
Yeah.
we'll see.
So that's probably like the biggest chunk of our episode here. I mean, we still
Yeah.
have 2.5 days to get through, but I mean, like that was the meat. At least in my notes, that was the meat.
Right.
But we had Square Enix. They had Guardians of the Galaxy, which looked all right.
Yeah,
I would say,
it looks okay.
yeah, compared to other hero games that we get, like Spider-Man or the Arkham series,
It's
yeah.
not.
I don't think it's comparable.
It's Square Enix, man. I'm wary of it because of what they did with Avengers, which should have been an awesome game, and it turned out not to be an awesome game. I believe that this game is not multiplayer. I think it's only single player.
Just single player.
So
yeah.
I think it's a good way to go. I didn't think it looked that great though. The gameplay looked kind of, I don't
Goofy.
know, something's not right with it. But
And like I get like, I mean, I'm familiar with the Guardians, right? I know they're like zany, quippy characters, but like it seemed like every half second somebody
overly quippy, yeah.
was like throwing out a one-liner. I'm like, okay, I get it.
Yeah.
Can we have like 1 second go by without
and
someone throwing out a one-liner?
And a pretty good amount of time. Like it was a big trailer. Like it might have been one of the longer ones. So I don't know. I'm not going to play it just because, like Mike said, I know about the Guardians of the Galaxy. It's just not really my thing. I want Spider-Man 2 or those are the Marvel games I want.
Yeah.
So
give me a new Arkham game.
Or a new Arkham. Yeah.
I really want to play the Spider-Man games. They look sick.
Oh man, it's so good. Yeah.
Give me like a third-person Punisher game. That would be dope.
Oh yeah, that would be really cool too. Yeah.
Anyways, we could spitball superhero games all day long. That'd be
for
fun.
sure. Future episode.
Yeah, there you go. But yes, like you brought up Avengers, they have Wakanda update coming.
I thought that actually looked pretty cool. That might be enough to get me back on to Avengers just to check out everything that's come since launch. I played it at launch, beat it. It's like the most mediocre game. It's like the most basic, okay game I've ever played. Like the combat's fun. It's just, it's just not the path that I would have taken the Avengers. And we said that a couple times. But I think the Black Panther
most mediocre game.
Yeah, it really is. It's the best way to describe it. It's not terrible. There's nothing in it that's like broken or bad or anything. It's just it's okay.
Not great.
It's a game.
Yeah. Then we had Life is Strange, True Colors. looked interesting. Very heavily, narrative driven and stuff.
Yeah, I wanted to
Again,
play
I don't
those.
know if I would ever play it, but it looked interesting. And
Yeah,
kind
I wanted to play them. I think they're supposed to be good. You did skip one thing that I want to point out
of,
because it really annoyed me. And it was Final Fantasy 1 through 6 coming to Steam and mobile. Steam and mobile.
Yes.
What? What? Can you put it on the PS4, the PS5, the Xbox, the Switch, any of the other gaming consoles?
Anything?
I don't want to play Final Fantasy on my phone. I'm sorry. It's just not what I
Yes,
want.
you
So
do.
Anytime anyone makes a mobile announcement is like committing a cardinal sin in my book.
yeah.
It's
It's just so
Well, it's-
weird because
It's
that-
crazy. Where are these people at that they think they're talking to? Because
Yeah.
I don't know anyone that's just like mobile game announcements.
It's not the
yeah.
people
Right.
that watch E3. That's for
no,
sure.
right. Yeah, definitely. So that was like the biggest like woohoo moment for me until the end when they said Steam, and it was like the biggest
Yeah.
tease ever. So I just wanted to
Yeah.
point that out because it really irritated me.
Also, at this point, my notes on E3 greatly diminished.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I was gonna
Uh,
say you skipped quite a bit there, but
because
nothing
my
of
next
value really.
my next bullet point is a bunch of other stuff that I wasn't particularly interested in.
Yeah, I mean that's pretty much. I got to be honest with you. That's pretty much it. They showed off Stranger of Paradise Final Fantasy Origin, which is the new Team Ninja in Square Enix Japan game. It looks cool. I don't think that the problem with it is they released a demo after the trailer that was literally broken, like corrupted.
Ugh.
Nobody could play it. So that's a big issue to try and like
Nice.
get people excited for your game and your demo's broken.
Yeah.
So it's coming 2022. Didn't learn a single thing about it from the trailer. I think they were hoping people were going to go download the demo to learn about it. And then missing outside of the B-roll at the end was Final Fantasy 16. And I don't know if I'm just confused on Final Fantasy 16, if it already got announced, but I feel like I don't remember it getting announced. And then all of a sudden it showed up at the B-roll, like the quick stuff at the end, like, oh, Final Fantasy 16, like,
it's like,
okay.
I gotta slip that one in there.
Yeah, let's just skip over maybe your most anticipated title
they
now.
had to make room for that mobile announcement.
In that
It's
20
broken.
minute
Don't
long-
talk about it. Just show
Yeah.
it real quick.
Yeah, that's the vibe I got from it. Honestly, Nick, is there's something wrong with it. And that's why they're not showing it off. But I could be wrong.
Or to Mike's
Or-
point, they were like, pause, mobile, go.
Yeah, right. Or they just literally ran out of time because the Guardians of the Galaxy thing was like 30 minutes long.
Yeah,
and,
that
like,
really was
oh,
like a huge amount of time, which was unnecessary. Was there anything else from Square?
Nope.
No. Okay. So then we had the PC gaming show. First bullet point, all caps, sucked. Which made
Yeah.
me sad because I am a PC gamer and I was looking forward to cool stuff. But I guess
you didn't get it.
I think all the Microsoft stuff should be available on PC. Yes.
Yes.
More or less,
Microsoft.
yeah.
So I mean, I guess a lot of cool games got announced earlier, but not only was just this missing announcements, the show itself was so cringe.
Oh, cringe, man. Oh my goodness.
I was like, what? Who is watching this? Like
Yeah.
fifth graders? Like,
Right.
What is going on? Like,
So the the first announcement was what I was talking about when we were talking about the samurai games earlier, and it's Naraka Blade Point. And I had saw a trailer for this initially before this PC gaming show. So it popped up. And I was super amped about it because it looks kind of Ghost of Tsushima like. It's got the ancient Japan or ancient China, whatever they're going for. But in my notes, I put Naraka Blade Point Battle Royale ? Stupid. So it's a battle royale game. I kind of toned it out after that, man.
Yeah.
It looked cool, but just not for me, man. I was really excited for that one, and it kind of fizzled out.
Yeah. I do have noted Chivalry 2 looked cool.
Yeah.
One of our friends who plays Valheim with us, Crossland, shout out Crossland.
Shout
him
out.
and his buddies are, really into like Chivalry, Mordhau, games of the like. It does look kind of cool. I don't know if I'd play it, but it looked cool. I liked the scale and all that stuff. Then we had an EVE Online Academy announcement, which was interesting. Try to
Yeah.
ease that entry point of spreadsheet, Space Sim, EVE Online. It's been something I've kind of wanted to dip my toes into, being a Dust 514 fan.
Right.
But it is a very daunting game to get involved in because it's so old. It's not like new user friendly at this
Right.
point. So having that Academy thing kind of was cool, I thought, though I am not a huge fan of CCP. And yeah, I actually really just hate them.
Yeah.
For taking my beloved away from me and then teasing that we would get like a PC, basically like spiritual successor, and then never getting it.
Right.
Then I had Icarus, looked pretty cool, which made me think of, I have written down here, Spacey Valheim kind of game, ?
Yeah.
Other than that, that's my entire note.
Yeah, I mean,
PC gaming show.
Yeah, I have a lot of notes, and I got to be honest with you, I don't think really any of them are worth talking about. That what I do want to point out though is the Dying 2 portion of it, where it was just the dude sitting in the chair talking. Like, show me gameplay, man.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
Yeah,
I don't want to hear you talk.
Yeah, they talked about Dying Light 2 for a bit.
Yeah,
and
in the
that's
most awkward
literally
way
all they did was talk about it.
Yeah, so weird.
Yeah,
And
I
then-
think that's again like just a product of, they probably weren't able to really work on it this entire year, so they might not have anything to show.
I
which
mean,
sucks.
that's the thing though, is they released a couple of trailers. It was just that was what made it so weird, is that they weren't showing the game. It was just this dude talking about it.
Yeah, weird.
But I have highlighted Silt, which is a Limbo inside, and whatever the other game we just talked about, I said was similar to it.
Somerville.
Somerville. I think that looked really cool. Solstice, which is a Souls-like game, I thought looked really, really good too. But yeah, we got some more Stalker 2 gameplay in case the 30 minutes in the other one wasn't enough for you.
Yeah. Did you watch any? Oh, sorry. Did you have more?
Nope.
Okay. Did you watch any of the? Did you make it past like the opening part of the PC game show?
No, I was too mortified. And I think I was just like busy that day. So PC, I think I saw a list somewhere. I can't find it, where it's like just listing everything out that they kind of went over, but there's nothing crazy. Like I told you, I might as well just scroll through my Steam suggestions at this point. Like, we don't need PC announcements at E3.
Yeah.
Right.
Because most games on the major consoles are gonna be on Steam anyway. So
and Steam does it every day for me. I open it and it basically gives me an E3 of just billions of games that I could buy and play.
What is wish listing something on Steam?
Basically like a watch list. Like if you want a game, throw it on there, and if it like goes on sale, or
it'll tell
if it's
you
a game that isn't out yet, that maybe is just on Steam or in like early access or whatever, it'll kind of like give you updates about it and things like that.
Because it
I think
seemed
it's
like
a way
after literally every trailer, like wish listed on Steam, and I was like, I wonder what that is.
Yeah, I think it's a way also for studios to track interest.
Yeah, that's what I figured.
Yeah, I use it for sale announcements, so I can get things cheap, because most of the time things I want on Steam, I don't have to play today, but I want to play someday when they're $5, $2.
Exactly.
Yeah,
I do that a lot. Wishlist
80% off.
Yeah, when it's like, this game, I'll pay you to play it, and I'm like, okay, throw it in my library.
I won't install it.
Yeah. But yeah, also, if you didn't catch throughout the presentation, if you did watch it, there was a game that they kept, promoting. I don't quite remember. Oh yeah, it's Mech Warrior 5. In case you didn't get any of the.
Yeah, like, no, my goodness, man.
Like You made me not want to ever play that game.
Yeah, right.
By talking about it so much, like,
exactly.
holy
exactly. With your cringy dialogue and spaceship crashing or whatever was going on. It was so ridiculous.
Yeah.
Just give me the game announcements, man. I don't need all that crap.
Yes. And then we had the Future Game Show, and I got excited because I saw my boy Troy Baker, and then immediately was like, wow, I didn't think anything could be as cringy as the PC Game Show. And then I heard the dialogue of the script, and I was like,
oh
this
boy,
is as cringy as the PC Game Show.
I felt the same way, man. I love Troy Baker. I love Laura Bailey, who played a major character in The Last of Us 2. So I was pretty excited for this. I thought they were just gonna be normal and talk through the games, which would have been way cooler, but the acting stuff was it was not hitting for me at all.
No bueno. So my note is nothing really caught my eye. That sums up the Future Game Show.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, that's a good way. Go ahead, Nick.
I was gonna say, are they like, so does E3 just stereotype PC gaming and this stuff as like cringy, eccentric people? They're not just normal people don't play PC games.
I don't know.
Like, super cringy, awkward, never gonna happen in real life ever, or in a game or in a movie. Like, it was a really bad
It's not
movie.
a way that you speak to the master race, you know?
Right.
So confused. So confused.
You do not speak to us PC gamers like that.
So I do want to point out a couple games from here. The first one was Instinction, I think it was the name of it. It was a dinosaur, like a Dino Crisis looking game.
Oh yeah,
where you like are protecting dinosaurs. It looked really cool, I thought. The boxing game that I had mentioned earlier, I really, really want because they're just not around. And then there were either 1, 2, or 3 World War II shooters in here.
Just what we need.
Yeah, there was a lot of them, and I thought they both looked pretty decent, to be honest with you. So,
what was the boxing game's name? Because it was confused me.
Esports Boxing is the name of it, and I don't know if they're trying to hope that people accidentally buy it thinking it's EA Sports or what, but that's how I took it.
I got excited because I was like, "Oh, dude, a boxing esport league? That would be dope."
yeah.
But then that's just the name of the game.
Yeah, it's just
where does the esports that doesn't come into play anywhere? You're just a boxing game.
Doesn't make any sense. Doesn't make any sense. But like a couple months ago, I was like trying to find a boxing game, and they're like, literally, there's none. There's UFC games, but there's no legit boxing game. So I was excited for that.
It looked pretty like good, like kind of realistic. They seemed to really like call on boxing people for movement and moves and stuff. I was liking what I saw there.
Yeah. And then I actually have one game highlighted out of this list, which I don't think I did through all of E3 with check this out. It's called Lake, and it's set in the 1980s. You're like moved to a small town and you're a mail delivery guy, and then it's like a life simulator / mystery game. I don't know. I thought it looked really cool. It's an indie game. It's coming out September 1st for Xbox and PC first, and then I think it's coming to PlayStation later. So I'll probably just wait until later, obviously, because I'm not that amped about it. But I thought it looked really, really cool.
Is that the one where in the trailer or announcement or whatever, they're in the car trying to pick what movie to go to?
Yeah, that was it. Yeah.
So like with all these actual sim games, I wasn't sure if it was like, you know, Cat Cafe Sim, which was a thing that was announced, or if it was like give off the impression of a sim, but then be like a mystery game, like you're talking about.
That's how I took it, because they said like wait until you see what happens after the movie. Like it was like this mystery. So I don't know. It gave me like the life sim portions of Persona. That's the kind of vibe it was giving me. So I was really into it.
Nice. Nice. Well, that makes it sound much more interesting. Because I was like, I think I could pass on being a mailman and picking out movies to go.
Yeah, there you go.
I would just go pick out a movie in real life and go watch it.
Right.
But so that pretty much wraps up the Future Game Show.
Yeah, definitely. Their final like mic drop game was like, what? Yeah. That probably should have been somewhere in the middle because it looked so boring.
Yeah, but hey, it follows suit with pretty much the rest of E3. So day 3, again, this wasn't a huge day in my
No.
opinion. We had Verizon 5G presentation for like 3 hours,
Yeah,
which
boring.
was basically super dumb.
Yeah.
Don't really understand. Then we did have Intellivision Amico console announcement, which I thought was actually pretty cool. It's obviously not comparable to consoles that are out right now, but
No.
it looked like a really cool console for super casual gamers or like family gaming time, like if you have small kids.
Right.
I loved the fact that they said that you can like take your controller to another Amico, and if you like dock it on that charger or whatever, like you can play all the games you own on that system, which I thought was really interesting and super cool for like, you know, party games or like, you know, you have a bunch of people over. But yeah, I don't know. I might check it out because I have small children, and it would be a cool way to introduce them to gaming. And then, you know, they had like a little, you know, Earthworm Jim thing, which I love Earthworm Jim.
Right.
One of my favorite Super Nintendo games. So I was like, okay, you got my attention twice during this whole thing. But again, you know, nothing to write home about, but I thought it was cool.
I thought it was cool. There was a lot of stuff like that when we were kids that they had like tried to do, and this seems like the progression of it. It's like a party game type of deal. They, you know, they had like euchre and stuff on there you could play. I don't think it's going to pick up. I think it's probably just going to fizzle out, but it's a cool concept, I guess.
Yeah. And I'm all for trying to find your spot, right? And they were very self-aware. I think he even said like this is nothing like what's out, and we're not trying to be like what's out. It's like a completely separate thing. But yeah, I don't know. I might look into it, see how much it is. If it's cheap, who knows?
Yeah.
This was not my console announcement, by the way. So, but then the thing from day 3 that really sparked my interest is Blanco's Block Party. And
Chad's note is dumb.
Oh yeah.
To the moon. No, that's Nick's note. We're going to the moon, baby. But yeah, gaming on the blockchain, and you're gaming with NFTs. So if you're into crypto stuff, this could be a very enticing thing for you to get into. So did you look into this any further, Nick, after I was like talking to you about it?
I watched most of them talking about it and them kind of just going through the different pieces. I thought the like artist portion of it was cool. How people can like, who are artists, can like contribute art basically to the game, right? And then essentially they're selling their art as NFTs through the game, more or less, and they're kind of using the characters as like the canvas. I thought that was kind of cool. Felt a little salesy or like staged though at the same time. There's a lot of people like saying like scam in the side thing, which is just a thing you get with like blockchain, but it definitely seemed like a little long and a little kind of repetitive, but definitely a cool idea.
Do you want to explain what NFTs are? Because I doubt most people would really know.
Yeah, I would say just generally like an NFT, you know, dealing with the blockchain, it is a token, much like kind of like a coin would be on like Bitcoin. So like Bitcoin, they're all the same. A Bitcoin is equal to 1 Bitcoin. Well, with NFTs, they're controlled by a ledger system, just like Bitcoin is. But every NFT is unique, and it has a unique value that people can place on it based on what it's tied to. So in this case, they tie the tokens, which are the NFTs, to in-game items, which make them unique, tradable assets, if you will. So I could get a very cool item in game, and maybe it's one of 100, or it's the only one of itself, and I can sell it to Chad because Chad's like, dude, I will give you $10 for that, or we can trade for it, whatever it might be. But the idea is that with the blockchain, it is while it's digital, it allows it to be a unique digital asset. Unlike, every other cosmetic in every other game that exists right now, which is just infinitely reproducible.
Right.
Yeah. And I think your comparison to like trading cards is perfect way to explain it.
Yeah.
It's like you got a first gen holo Charizard. Well, that's like one of 100 first gen holo Charizards. So that card, or in this case, the NFT, is going to have a specific rarity to it that will assign it a value. So, basically this game is seems like a Mario Party of sorts, basically a party game that also has like a MMO type gathering social aspect to it, where there's just kind of like a world and you can see all the other players running around. But basically you play as like a vinyl pop figure, and that's the NFT, and you collect these pops basically, and they're all different designs. You level them up, and then that kind of makes them even more unique and more valuable, and basically you have this now NFT that is worth a monetary value, which I think is kind of cool. I'm interested in it for sure. Definitely.
I like that it had level builders. I thought that was a cool little addition.
The gameplay I'm less so interested in, and more so interested in the NFT side of it.
Right.
But then it made me think of why don't we get a Pokemon trading card online game, but they're also NFTs. So the cards that you get in the game, you actually own and are of a specific rarity. And I think that's
a really cool idea. Yeah, that's a really cool idea.
But yeah, I don't know. I'm interested and keep my eye out on Blankos. But yeah. And then Nick and I were also talking what if you, invest money into Blankos and you're buying all these figures and NFTs and stuff, and then they shut down the game, right? And it's no longer supported. What happens?
Right.
Well, then I guess your NFTs are now more valuable because they're not going to be made anymore. So it's I don't know, but then also could be not valuable because now you have nowhere to use it. But it's also an NFT is kind of a piece of art, right? I don't know. It's interesting to think about for sure. See where it goes. Then we had the indie spotlight where there were lots of games. I wrote down 2. Dreamscape I thought looked pretty cool. And then Koromon, which is a straight up Pokemon ripoff. But I
definitely
love Pokemon and will probably play it.
Right.
But yeah, do you have any anything to add here before we get into Capcom?
I didn't really highlight anything from that. I do want to touch on something earlier on in the day that really, really, really agitated me, and it was the Take-Two interactive panel thing that they did. Okay, so I don't know why. Just looking at the schedule, it says Take-Two Interactive. Okay. And that's could have been Grand Theft Auto 6, could have been a lot of things, could have been a lot of big announcements. For Monday, that was probably the one next to Capcom that I was looking forward to the most. And then it was I don't even want to even get into what it was. It should not have been at E3. They did not even announce a single game at it. I don't even think they talked about games at it at all. It was I don't know. It was so agitating, and I just want some news on Grand Theft Auto. It was inclusion in gaming. So they had a bunch of different people. It was really. It's fine. That stuff has its place, just not in E3.
That's what those YouTube comments were aiming at.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It was
there were a lot of panels like that. There was a few things about mental health. There were.
And I'm fine with all that. Just don't put Take-Two Interactive on the thing. Tell me, hey, it's an inclusive video game or mental health panel or whatever.
Yeah.
Just don't tease me with, hey,
That's
it could
true.
be Grand Theft Auto 6, and here's 45 minutes of nothing. To do
they baited you into their panel.
They did. And I was very agitated with it up until I got to Capcom.
Wait, and then
I became
agitated.
even more agitated.
Yeah, and furious. So Capcom, my notes are Resident Evil 8 DLC.
Yep.
And then they had like Monster Hunter stuff, which I've always wanted to get into Monster Hunter.
It looks, especially Monster Hunter Stories. I thought it looks kind of cool.
That's kind of what they announced here, and they're in day 4. There is an even deeper look into it. I think during the Nintendo thing.
Yeah.
And yeah, the more they showed and talked about this game, the more I was like, this could be a cool entry point into Monster Hunter, because it's not like it's kind of tied into the other like actual hunter games, but also kind of its own thing, and it's like it's the tactical like turn-based style, and not so much the hack and slash, even though that like looks awesome, and I really want to get into that, but I don't know where to get into that, because it's so far along now.
Right.
Those are my 2 things from Capcom. Did you like?
I gotta
tell me
honest.
what made you so mad, because I want to know. It's fun.
Yeah, it's Capcom, and they didn't announce anything new. The Monster Hunter stuff was already out. They didn't announce a single new game in this E3 conference, in quotes. So the Resident Evil Village stuff, starting with that, agitated me because that game's already out. Not showing anything to do with the DLC besides saying it's in production, and then showing the everything about this conference agitated me because they didn't announce anything and they didn't talk about anything I thought they were going to at least touch on in some capacity. Great. I mean, the games that they showed look great, but they weren't announcements. Okay.
Yeah.
They need to say something about this Resident Evil 4 remake, because there's obviously some sort of developmental issue with it, because they went in and said, hey, we're like kind of wiping the floor with the development, and we're going to come back and rework it. So just tell us like, hey, we're still working on it. You didn't even have to show a trailer or anything. Just talk about relevant games at E3. You didn't talk about anything. You talked about games that were out or that we already knew about from other conferences.
Yeah.
So, I mean, by the end of this, I like literally, I'm not even going to read my comments because it's a not safe for work comment. So, but it's just like, I mean, the first part of it was total waste of time. It was like the worst, hands down, the worst conference of E3.
Yeah. I could agree with that. Do you have anything to add, Nick?
Nope. Didn't watch it. I concur.
Yeah.
What were you gonna say? I didn't mean to cut you off there, Chad.
Yeah, like the other thing, like I wanted Resident Evil 4 remake news. I wanted Mega Man 12 stuff. I wanted anything of relevance that have been in production for years now, literal years, and nothing. Not even like a hey, we're still doing it. Hey, like just that. This should have been a hey. Sorry, E3, we don't have anything to show.
Yeah,
we apologize.
Yeah, woke up this morning, totally forgot we were supposed to be here.
Right.
My bad.
Yeah, that's what it felt like.
Yeah. Yes. So we're rounding out here. We're on to day 4 now, and we're hitting our usual target time of What's Playing episodes of about 4 hours. So thank you for sticking with us. But yeah, day 4, big Nintendo Direct. Basically all that I was able to watch of day 4, which was quite a big chunk, was all Nintendo stuff. But I enjoyed the way Nintendo did it. They, showed like trailers and stuff, but then they like had set like, I think 20, 15, maybe 10 to 20 minute chunks of time of the people playing the games and talking about them. And I'm like, where has this been? This is what we need. Like seeing how the game actually works. It's crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, this, like, I want to get a Switch now.
Yeah, man.
This made me want to get a Switch. I mean, on top of, my love of Pokemon and then my hype for Arceus, like some of the things announced here during the Nintendo Direct thing, like pushed me over the top where I'm like, okay, I'm going to look into getting a Switch because I think it would be really cool.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it is, man. I love my Switch. My both my kids have. We have like 3 or 4 Switches in this house. I mean, we absolutely love them. So
Nice.
it's Nintendo's best console in years. And while I have my complaints with this press conference, we'll get to those later as we break it down. But
Mhm.
this for me probably is my winner press conference wise, and it's because what happened at the end, what they showed at the end. So we'll get to
Nice.
that. But
So yeah, new Metroid game, Metroid Dread.
Yeah,
Not a
man.
big fan of Metroid, but a lot of people pumped about that.
yeah,
It's been
super,
about like
super
30
amped.
years since they announced this game,
Yeah, it's
particularly.
yeah. So they came out and were like, "Hey, we're still working on Metroid Prime 4, which is the game they announced a while ago." That's
Mhm.
all that we're hard at work at it. That kind of agitated me a lot, but that was kind of taken away by showing Metroid Dread, which is a new side-scrolling Metroid. It looks awesome,
Yeah.
and I'm picking it up day one. Yeah,
Yeah, I was only partially joking. They seriously, they announced Dread like 19 years ago or something like that.
Oh,
and
really?
then, yeah, weren't able to make it because the technology wasn't there to do exactly what they wanted to do in the game.
Oh,
And yeah, so now here it is.
here it is. That's
So
cool.
it's pretty cool. Then they had like a Dragon Ball Z action RPG that I feel like Nick would just absolutely love.
Yeah,
Um,
Kakarot or something. It's already out.
It's already
just coming.
out.
Yeah, it's just coming to the Switch on
Oh.
September 24th.
I need to play that game.
It looks
Yeah.
cool. I don't know anything about Dragon Ball Z, but it looks really cool.
Yeah, I feel like Nick would get that. He would like it.
Yeah.
I need that. Now, do I get it? Do I get a Switch and get it, or do I just get it for PlayStation 4? Probably just
PlayStation 4. Yeah, definitely.
Uh,
but to be fair, that shouldn't be what sells you on the Switch. There's plenty more to be playing on the Switch besides that.
yeah, new Mario Golf game. I loved Mario Golf on my Game
Yeah.
Boy. Like so much fun, and this one looked pretty sweet. And then
Yeah, it looks really good.
this was one of the games that they like showcased gameplay of and looked really cool.
Yeah.
Had like solid actual golf and then like crazy like
Mario
Mario
stuff.
Party like
Yeah.
golf stuff. And I was like,
Yeah.
this is great.
Yeah.
They like snuck a Fatal Frame. Like
Yeah, Fatal
game in
Frame.
there.
That was one of the articles I wrote. It's an older game. I think it came out in 2014 for the Wii U.
Mhm.
It looks really cool. I'm sure there are people that are really excited about it, and the Switch kind of lacks horror like games like this. So
Yeah.
it looks cool. I might pick it up. I haven't played any of those, but it has a cool premise to it.
Yeah, Pokemon Snap, but horror version.
But horror version, yeah, that's exactly it. Yep.
Yeah, then they announced Tony Hawk 1 and 2 remaster, which
Yeah.
who doesn't love those games?
Right.
This one got me really excited. Advanced Wars 1 and 2 remaster.
Yeah.
Another great set of games that I played a ton of on my Game Boy Advance. And again, this was another game that they showcased gameplay of. Took me right down memory lane. I was like, this is amazing. Would totally play that if I had a Switch. And then they announced this like Zelda Game and Watch thing.
Yeah, that was like, I gotta be honest, man. When they got to that, I was like, "Oh, they're not gonna show what I want to show," and this is their supplement for it because Nintendo has done this in the past. We're like, "Hey, we have this awesome game we can't show you, but here's like a stupid watch thing that plays
Yeah,
really old
so, like,
games that nobody
Is it
cares
a
about."
clock?
It's a
Like,
clock. Yeah, it's a
But you can play,
watch
like
flash you can play. Yeah, it's exactly what it is. It's called like Game and Watch system. I think it's literally that's it. But
They
yeah, I mean,
they had like is it a Mario Party game or is like Princess Peach something birthday thingy? I don't know. But they played this, was another one of the showcase games. I haven't played like Mario Party in forever, and it just like brought back memories of when I used to play it like back in middle school. It's super fun. And now that I have kids and our oldest is 6 and even our 3-year-old is like showing interest in games when I'm down here, like playing New World or Valheim or whatever. They're like standing right here, like asking if they can play. And I'm just like, man, a Switch would be so cool to get, especially like some of these goofy Mario games where we could just all play as a family and like have
Yeah,
fun.
definitely. I mean, the Switch is the kids' system, man. If you're gonna get something for your kids, it's the Switch because they've got Mario, they've got Zelda. My kids love Breath of the Wild. I mean, they've dumped. I looked at the time on the Switch for Breath of the Wild, and it's like an absurd. It was like 400 hours or something ridiculous that all of us have put into that game. So,
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
But then they have like games that I would like. So it's just like,
right.
I want to get one.
Yeah, I mean, I think you should, man. I kind of hinted that I thought you should wait because I thought we were gonna see the Pro in this, which is the new Nintendo Switch, and oddly missing from the press conference, which I found very strange.
You actually weren't the only one that's told me that too. My brother-in-law, I was asking him how he likes his Switch, and he's like, yeah, I think they might announce like a new one, so I would just wait.
Yeah.
And then you also said the same thing, and then they did.
I thought for sure. I thought 100% you were going to get. I think that was like even top of my predictions for E3 was the Nintendo Switch Pro, and it was just nowhere to be found.
So, and then they didn't make any other announcements. So,
yeah, right. Well, I do want to, before we get to the one that we're talking about, I do want to point out a couple games we missed real quick. The Japanese nerd in me, Shin Megami Tensei, which is the Persona thing. It looks awful. I'm not gonna lie. I was really amped. I was really amped for it, and this kind of took all that away. And then Danganronpa, which is old series of games that I played on the Vita. They're awesome, and they're all coming to the Switch, so I'll be playing those again. That's all I wanted to touch on.
Nice.
The final, you want to do the final, or you want me to do the final?
Oh no, this is your love child. You
can so this for me was, and for my kids, was the jump out of our seat and cheer moment, which was the Breath of the Wild 2 trailer, which it was a gameplay trailer. They showed a lot of the game. It's still not coming till 2022, which kind of sucks, but it looks awesome. I'm not gonna lie, man. I cannot wait for this game. I think that I have some concerns with it, and the concerns are that they kind of showed like what they were doing, and it seems like they're just building a map on top of the map from Breath of the Wild, which it agitates me a little bit because I thought that they were going to like add new areas to go off and explore, and they are kind of. They're just in the sky. I don't know. Some things seem weird about it, but I am just so over the top excited for this game that there's really nothing outside of them never releasing it that's going to agitate me about it, you know? So
nice.
Yeah. I mean, I would literally, we watched the trailer like 4 times in a row, back to back, because we were trying to catch everything in it.
Nice.
So this was definitely the announcement for me at E3. I didn't think we were going to get it, especially after the Game & Watch thing. I was like, oh my God.
Made you wait till the end.
Yeah.
How you're supposed to do it, Microsoft, by the way.
Yeah, and the beginning of the conference showed something from Zelda, but it was Super Smash Brothers. So that was like, they were like teasing it at the beginning, and then they teased it a couple times throughout the thing, and then they were like, this is our last announcement. And then it wasn't Breath of the Wild. And I was like, oh my gosh, like you're kidding me right now. But then it was like a whole Zelda segment where they showed Skyward Sword HD and everything.
Yeah.
But
overall, I think Nintendo's was like you said, the best.
Yeah.
Again, they showed the Monster Hunter stories in there too, which was enticing to me. They showed a lot of stuff. I only really jotted down the stuff I thought would be of interest of either myself or you two.
Right.
But that's as far as I got in day 4. So I don't know what happened after the Nintendo.
Yeah, I mean, nothing of note. So, I mean, we're pretty much the pinnacle for me was Nintendo. I think that Nintendo, for my money, won E3 if we're competing in any capacity. Just because of the just because of that final announcement. I mean, if that wasn't there, that and the missing Nintendo Switch Pro would have been like very Nintendo, because I wasn't expecting that. Their press conferences are always weird, you know. Yeah. And I don't know if it's like maybe a translation issue sometimes, because sometimes I think it is. And I don't know. They just, like we talk about all the time, they're just like they don't care. You know, it doesn't seem like they care. They're making
Yeah.
toys for the people that like their toys, man. And you know, you'll get it when you get it.
Yep.
And I will say that when their games come out, they're ready to go. You know what I mean? They're always polished. They're always ready to go. So that's the one thing Nintendo has down, I think. But you know, I was missing Metroid Prime 4, even though they talked about it. You know, the Pro, I think something's up with the Pro, I think, because why you wouldn't show it here, I have no idea, unless they want to do like their own thing, like Sony is to announce it. But
I wonder if it has something to do with like the scarcity of parts,
that's probably a very good, it's a possibility, definitely.
which sucks. Like, I mean, there's nothing. Everything is
Right.
scarce. Can't buy a dang 2x4 without going bankrupt these
Yeah.
days. So. What were you gonna say, Nick? I think you were.
I was gonna say I'm confused how Forza won like Game of the Convention and not Breath of the Wild sequel.
Well, I think it's because they go off of newly announced games for the conference thing, and Breath of the Wild has already been announced. This was just a new trailer for it. So I think that's it.
Still,
If I had to guess. Yeah. I mean, it's odd, man. I will say that game looks awesome. I'm not denying
Oh,
it.
yeah.
It just shows you what you need to know about the C3, that we're talking about a racing game winning, game of the show.
Yeah. So there's E3 2021 for you guys. In my opinion, I think we covered it much better than the people who were paid to cover it. So
Valid.
just want to throw this out there to you guys. E3, if you're listening, we will be substantially cheaper, probably,
yes,
than the people you had covering E3, and probably more entertaining and hopefully less cringeworthy. So you can shoot us an email, showboyspodcast@gmail.com. We can get it set up for next year, and everything will be good to go. But yeah, do you guys have anything to add about your general thoughts on E3 before we talk about listener comments and wrap up here?
No, I don't. I think we covered it pretty good. I do just want to say that even though it was mysteriously missing from all the rest of E3, that Elden Ring, that's like my most anticipated game. And I think even Bandai Namco had a press conference where they didn't even talk about it at all, which is so weird because it's coming out soonish. So for them to totally ignore it in their press conference was really odd.
Yeah, they
But
talked
I don't know
about like Dark Chapters, something or other, House of Ashes, or I don't know. It didn't even look really that
that's
great.
it. It's the sequel to some PlayStation game that I can't think. Until Dawn, which those games are cool. That's fine, but nobody wants to talk about that when you have Elden Ring coming out, the most anticipated game probably of the past 5 years. So
Yeah,
I don't know if it was like a contract type of thing where they like signed a deal with Games Fest and it couldn't be at E3 or what, but I thought it was odd that it was.
That is because I forgot about Elden Ring.
Yeah.
How did that not win Game of the Convention? Was that
because it wasn't
again previously announced, or?
Well, yeah, it's been it's been previously announced, and they showed a very short teaser of it. This was like the big blowout, like here it is, here's the release date and everything, but it wasn't at E3, it was at Games Fest, which is a totally separate thing. So I think that's why.
Because what I was watching, I think combined both E3 and Games Fest. So that makes sense. Great. What about you, Nick?
I'm just ready to shred some people in Battlefield this fall and winter. Like that's all I want to do right now.
Yeah,
nice. Well, get out there and get that PS5, bro.
Yeah, good luck. You might need till October to find one. So
yeah, I'm not in a big hurry because it doesn't come out till then, and maybe I'll dust off 4 and see what's going on around there.
There you go.
Yeah. I got to be honest, if you get the opportunity to buy one between here and October, you should probably do it because they're nowhere.
You won't find one.
Yeah, you're not going to find one.
Especially getting that close to Christmas with the scarcity of consoles
definitely.
These days. That's sage advice. Just buy one as soon as you see one. But yeah, so we'll head up. We'll get the listener comments done here. We're closing in on record
3 hours.
length show, boys. That's how dedicated we are to you guys. Breaking down E3. We're here all night.
Yeah.
I'm not even tired. That's a lie. I'm tired.
Yeah.
But yeah, we had we threw out like we do every week in Answer the Boys channel in our Discord. We wanted to know your thoughts and opinions on this year's E3, and our good friend PM Fusion replied. He said, despite not being a massive Metroid fan, the fact that Metroid Dread was announced was huge and one of my favorite announcements, not only because it's another Metroid game, which we haven't seen in a minute, but Metroid Dread was a game that was canceled and first talked about almost 19 years ago. So the fact that it basically came back to life is seriously sick. And it may not be a game, but I'm probably going to mispronounce this. Kazuya from Tekken being announced for Smash was pretty awesome as well. Also, the Mario Party collection and Monkey Ball remasters got me pretty hype as well.
Yeah, I know a lot of people were hyped about Super Monkey Ball. I never played them, but they have their following.
Yeah, I saw those and I was like, interesting. Okay. But hey, you're allowed to be excited for things.
Yeah.
But thank you so much for chiming in there, PM. We always appreciate your input. Yeah, the Mario Party collection. I enjoyed watching that little showcase during the Nintendo Direct, and I think that's kind of, even though the other games, there are more better games. That sentence did not come out right. That's the nearly 3 hours of podcasting brain happening. But there are other games that I would much rather play and am more interested in. But the Mario Party collection is kind of what was like, you should get a Switch. This would be fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, he was our only commenter, so that wraps up that segment. Thank you so much, PM Fusion. We always appreciate it. And to anyone who chimed in during the live stream, we thank you for tuning in and also being a part of the show. Yeah, you got anything to plug or any announcements to make, Chad, before we wrap up?
I do not, man. If you guys want to go over to Downright Creepy and check out all 13 articles I wrote on the E3 and break down everything a little bit more in depth per game, go check that out and stay tuned for That Strange, as we're going to all be back together next week for our next episode. Or this week rather. Nice. I kind of took the week off because I had a busy schedule ahead of me. So I'm glad I did. What
about you, Nick? Do you have anything going on, particularly on Sunday evenings?
Yeah, just a little campaign series we're doing on the Bad Batch. Tune in and check that out. We'll go over the latest episode. We had a double episode the other week, so we skipped a week, and then we're back on track now. But that's always fun. That's we're shaping up into the second half of that longer series, 14 episodes, so definitely is about to get really good on that front. So if you have not watched the Bad Batch yet, I suggest watching it if you are into the Star Wars realm of things.
Yes, and make sure you tune in the companion series, because they do a great job breaking it down. And last week, we had an appearance of a Clone Wars goat Rex.
Yeah.
Showed up,
Rex
man.
Showed
you never
up.
know who's going to show up in the Bad Batch.
I think we're going to get a lot of flash appearances here forward. I don't know. It might get rowdy.
I really need to watch it. I haven't watched it yet, but I need to. Yeah, I haven't watched the final season of Clone Wars either.
Watch that. Then watch the Bad Batch.
The final season of Clone Wars is so good.
Yeah, that's what I hear.
But yes, to borrow one of my favorite phrases, I am here for it. And you should be here for this. Look at that segue. Wow, look at that glare. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel and join our Discord. for your chance to win this nifty Moff Gideon Funko Pop and T-shirt combo pack, which we will be giving away once we hit 100 subscribers on our YouTube channel, which, by the way, we're super close. So we just need 10 more subscribers, then we'll be able to give this bad boy away. But remember, you have to be a subscriber to the YouTube channel and a member of our Discord to be able to be entered in the giveaway. So please help us out. Do that. Next week, we have a super exciting episode for you guys. I am so hyped for this. I have my fingers and my toes, like every digit crossed that my wife does not go into labor before. Or actually, so we made it through this episode. She can go into labor at any point until Thursday, and then at any point after Thursday. Yes, by the way, if you don't know, my wife's pregnant with our third child, and she is due on July 3rd. So like it could literally happen anytime now. Yeah. But our episode next week, I'm very, very, very excited for. We have a very cool guest on for you guys, and I don't want to give away. Actually, no, I'm going to give it away. We have one of my favorite YouTubers ever, Wendigoon, coming on the show. We're just going to pick his brain, talk to him about his channel, and get to know him. If you haven't checked out any of his videos, what are you doing with your life? Go on YouTube and watch Wendigoon.
Dude's so chill.
Amazing videos and the most pleasing presentation. It's so calm and soothing. But yeah, I'm really excited to get to chat with him. And you're gonna want to be here for the live stream for sure. But yeah, that's what we got going on. Thanks for hanging out. We're 2 hours 47 minutes into this episode, and if you made it this far, you're a real trooper, and we appreciate it. Don't forget to like and subscribe and rate and review wherever you listen to us, and we hope to see you Sunday night for the Bad Batch companion series. Until next time, have a wonderful evening.